your name in my mind, 'cause you caught it. You caught it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. Golden. When we meet, hold my hand in the darkness. Summer heat, bodies laid on the carpet. Eye to eye, glistening. No, I saw it. I saw it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. Golden. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. You know it. Yeah, you're golden. Golden. Golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street or at the end, so I could show you. Golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. You're golden. Golden.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My camera's slowly loading in, but we are in HD tonight. Welcome to LTS Week 7. Us here at Legends Esports are very excited to bring you a kick-ass series tonight. And of course, I am joined by my co-caster, Same Page. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself, Griff?
I am ready to see some awesome games here tonight. Temple Control, our second place team, 4-2, have been having a really good series, a really good season so far. So I am always excited to see these players come through. Always, whenever I talk to them, they've got really good positive energy coming out. So always a pleasure to have them back on stream. And I believe this is the first time we get to see UAEB on stream. Right now they are 1-5, but that one win came last week against Mad City in a 2-0 fashion. So this team has definitely got a little bit of little fire under their asses. So I'm excited to see what these guys are going to whip out for us, how they're going to fare up against the second place team. Very exciting stuff for us tonight.
Definitely, and I'm super excited to see IQ and how they're actually delivering their wins, especially with the person named Daily Peach, as I've seen a little bit of him when he was in the LRS last season, as he picks out the full lethality Vi, the Kha'Zix, as well as his coveted Hecarim.
Yep, and just a couple announcements while we wait for players to just line up here. We're waiting on a spec link too, so once we get those, we are going to be good to go and hop into draft. But we have a couple announcements. Tomorrow, there's just been an adjustment to the stream schedule. LTS Valorant will be happening on Sunday, but Let's Talk Legends will still be happening tomorrow night. There is Clash going on this weekend, so we have just shifted the time just a half an hour forward. 11 p.m. EST tomorrow night for Let's Talk Legends, and 1 p.m. Sunday for LAS Valorant. I believe that's all the announcements. There is a raffle going on. We are going to announce winners at the end of, when we come back from game number 1. So make sure to enter in with raffle, but let's go ahead and see our lineups. We're not too sure if these are the sides yet, but we're going to go ahead and see who's playing tonight before we start this draft up. Over on UAEB, we got Happy All in the top lane, XZ4 in the jungle, Fauntleroy in the mid lane, Mr. Cookie, and Yoyi in the bot lane. Over on Tempo Control, IQ Cracked in the top lane, Daily Peach in the jungle, Babs in the mid lane, Wash Editor, and IQ Ashcash there in the bot lane. So very exciting stuff. I'm about to get ready to get going, and gonna be a good series. I can feel it.
I think so too. Honestly, I am super excited to see what UAEB has to offer. And I'm wondering, just as a quick question, do they have any specialty picks that they've been bringing to the table?
Well, we've only actually seen Tempo on stream once, so I was going through. Maybe we can find some notes here from, I believe it was, week 4. It was IQ versus Mad City, where Mad actually took the win there in 2. But we know there's lots of good team fighting stuff here. We've seen them whip out stuff like Galio, Kaisa, even I think the little off pick we have seen is the Pike, but there are definitely some specialties in there that we might see pop up in in tonight's games. Whoops. I gotta make sure I'm not actually a player in this game, that I'm an observer.
You're a top laner today, man.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm very excited to see what's going to be happening. I'm excited to see there's been a little bit more of a curve for IQ recently. We've been putting a little bit more of an enchanter side. I've seen some karma picked up in their most recent games, which in my opinion, especially that she got buffed the 3rd time back-to-back patches, she's very strong right now. I think you can go for something like she can be tri or even quad flexed into all lanes, and you can either go for the Moonstone type of build, or you can go for that more AD or AP heavy type of style. Also, you got the man Daily Peach, who described a little bit already, but he is just a monster. If he's allowed to get his picks, he's allowed to take over the game, and he's a very farm heavy style jungler. Now, because of 11.4, I wonder how that actually affects his game plan.
That's true, because we are on 11.5 tonight, so there has been a bit of a shift now. I gotta do a little bit reading on this recent patch, but You know, in 11.4, we saw a lot of Senna coming out. I mean, it was still at the point where she had those the support side that was really good, and the AD side that felt really, really good. So, Paige, what are we looking at in terms of Senna's in 11.5, if we're going to see one tonight?
There was a recent nerf coming with the Gwyn's change, so she doesn't scale infinitely with crit anymore, but I think it's still viable. It transfers that crit into lifesteal, so you don't even have to build any lifesteal that you need to, you just have natural lifesteal coming in once you get over 100% crit with the Gwyn's.
Yep, we will see the Samira come through as the first ban here from UAE, so I mean, it's a strong pick, all in all. It's got a lot of built-in, you know, you got the dashes, you got the wind wall, and all the damage in there, so never a bad ban to get rid of that, and the Shen also being taken away by IQ.
I'm very interested to see the Samira ban. Honestly, it may be a real comfort pick for Washed Editor here, and maybe he's just that type of player where you play Samira, Kaisa, those type of very aggressive, dive heavy, really flashy, or even like you said, like Samira would say, style.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it's always a nice band to be picked up, like you said, especially in the right hand, even when she has been nerfed. An Echo and an Olaf band coming through as well. I'm actually interested in why they banned the Echo. It could be just a comfort pick, but I feel like Olaf is a comfort pick most likely for the side of UAEB. But I just feel like after the repeated nerfs, especially with the jungle changes, Olaf's in a little bit of a rough position right now. But nevertheless, I am not going to fault what they've done, fault the research of what they've done.
Yeah, I'm thinking UAEB has done some homework here, because usually we don't see Echoes too often, but when we do see them, they are generally going to players that are very, very comfortable on them, know the ins and out of this champion, and tend to dominate when they pick it up. Same thing with, you know, Ezreals and Hekarims that also are going to be sitting on the bench for this game.
I'm actually super surprised, because that's one of the three champions that Daily Peach absolutely masters, which is the Hecarim. Not to say that it is a bad pick for any means necessarily, or a bad ban necessarily. Maybe that XZ4 would have first looked for a first pick here, especially maybe he's a Hecarim player. But it looks like the Udyr is going to be coming out, the nice AP tank. Most likely it's going to go full tank, but a very big nuisance, especially how fast he can clear.
It's ridiculous. I mean, we're talking speed. Yes, clearing speed is pretty nuts. We usually see Udyr players tend to be in those higher CS numbers, but in terms of how fast this guy can go, I mean, the running bear slap out of nowhere can be absolutely devastating, but so clutch at setting up picks. So we definitely got to keep our eyes on XZ4, what lanes they're deciding to hit up. But I mean, we might get some more hints depending on what picks come out from UAB and IQ as well too, because they're definitely going to be looking out for that Udyr, as Gragas seems to be the next pickup, and that's actually nice for the disengage, that cast that can come out and keep that bear slap miles away from you. Is definitely going to be strong and offer a nice little bit of tank to this IQ team. But they also got that R2 coming up very soon.
And I'm expecting flex picks here, honestly. The Gragas, if they really wanted to, they can flex this Gragas to support. Nevertheless, I don't expect them to. I presume this is just a top lane neutralizer. Unfortunately, I don't think they've seen any top lane pick, or I'm surprised they haven't gave the Gragas to counteract a top lane player, unless they absolutely know they're going to pick something that's going to be neutralized anyway. But one of the key picks that Daily Peach is known for is his Kha'Zix.
Oh, yes.
Now, personally, I think Kha'Zix is a little bit of a road spot here, but I would not be surprised if Daily Peach takes over this game solo just because of that pick. Nevertheless, I'm super excited to see what UAE counteracts with this pick, as well as I'm expecting the Udyr, especially how fast his clear is and how slow Kha'Zix clears is. I'm expecting a little bit of an invade.
Quite possibly. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Sir Andros there for redeeming the shout out from the casters. Hope you're having a great night there, Sir Andros.
What's up, Sir Andros?
But no, I think you're absolutely right. That call out to Daily Peach there about, yeah, Kha'Zix might not be in the best of spots right now, but you know, again, comfort champs in the hands of people who know the ins and outs are very good. But so is Seraphine. She's ridiculous. What were we just talking about at the beginning of this draft?
Seraphine is probably, in my opinion, the most broken champion in the game. Another another enchanter who can potentially be quad flex, but really it can either go in the AD carry, the support, or the mid role, which is absolutely insane. And she can go that high damage that with the Leandries and stuff like that, and also go the Moonstone. And Cho'Gath is another, in my opinion, very strong pick. A little bit more for that disengage, a little bit off theme with the Udyr, especially that he wants to run in. But I wonder if he's going to be empowered with the Seraphine throwing through.
I mean, yeah, UAB has definitely got a lot of CC options here, and they're going to need them because IQ has just picked up the Vayne as well, too. Tends to be one of the more slippery champions, especially in a very skilled ADC main's hands. It can be truly devastating, but that's why we're going to see some ADC bans coming through from IQ. The Jinx taken away from the board.
Hello?
Yes, sorry. Jinx taken away from the board. Chompers, I mean, that's something you don't really want to deal with as the Vayne, especially if you're tumbling around in your ultimate. That can be a quick way to kind of shut down that Vayne from advancing forward. So that's not too bad, but we will start to see some responses in what will help that Vayne, and I guess a Thresh is a good option to take away.
Definitely. Vayne is going to be having a little bit of a hard time in the early game, and if they can find something to really poke and prod at that Vayne to make sure she doesn't hit that late game, it's really going to hinder that Vayne's capability to really step forward. Nevertheless, also just talking about the Cho'Gath real quick, I expect him to buy the Everfrost here, maybe a little bit of extra CC chain, and being able to set up for his Rupture will be absolutely crucial in those mid-game team fights where the Vayne is just tumbling back and forth and very hard to hit.
Absolutely. So, I mean, though, one single piece of CC on this Vayne, and it is death, because the rest of the follow-up that can come up to get the chain going is, I would say, just from the three champions we're seeing here, a little ridiculous, and I'm sure UAE is not going to stop there. But still looking for, potentially that mid, potentially support too, because we don't know where that Seraphine's exactly going yet. And their ADC, but Lulu looking to be the last ban here from UAEB.
I think Lulu is a proper ban. I think just in general, enchanters are very strong right now, especially with just all the options they have available to buff up their teammates, and especially for somebody like a hyper carry on the Kha'Zix on the Vayne, it's very important to get rid of something that can really make that champion from a hyper carry or from just a standalone squishy hyper carry to a very tanky one.
I mean, you were talking about enchanters, and I want to bring up just a point that is absolute music to my ears, because that's my specialty. So you know what? Might have to jump back on that rank train quite soon. But yeah, Karma coming through, most likely. I mean, with the Gragas there as well too. Probably support. Yeah, but with the Vayne, I mean, the ease, the mantra ease, even better. I mean, that speed boost and that incredible shield can be so much when looking for those early trades, or especially around keeping that Vayne alive when she's tumbling away from all the CC that's going to be directed towards her.
And the Mantra E getting that AoE shielding down, especially with something like an Ardent Sense or something like a Chemcheck Putrefier, is going to be very handy if you can get it on every single one of your teammates, especially when you see a Seraphine on the other team, who she wants to be able to AoE heal everybody.
Caitlyn going to be coming through too, and we do see that paired up with the Seraphine. That does offer a lot of poke. They do still have to be a little worried about that Karma, the Mantra Q. I mean, she gets her R level 1. I mean, it seems pretty fair to be. But either way, it does do an incredible amount of damage. So the Caitlyn and the Seraphine, yes, they can also poke back, but they themselves are quite squishy. And that Seraphine shield is going to be on a much longer cooldown than the Karma's.
Definitely, and I just want to say it's going to be a very back and forth battle, and I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this last pick here from UAEB, just showing if that Seraphine is going into the mid lane or going to the bot lane here, and it's just ending up onto this pick. Going back, like you said, you're talking about the Caitlyn. Caitlyn is just the traditional counter to Vayne, honestly, and especially that Caitlyn has been getting better and better recently, just because of the lack of options from the other side of different champions, for example. And Caitlyn has also, I think, been buffed recently, or at least with indirectly buffed with items. I think she's actually a really good pick right now.
Just a little confused where the pick's going. Maybe there might be a little bit of lag going on, but that is pretty,
they're taking their time.
pretty late here. So that is definitely going to impact how this can't find yeah, so he's looking for a certain champion but can't seem to find it.
Apparently I'm guessing it is, maybe it's not there, maybe I'm presuming okay, it's that Anivia's going to be a Blitzcrank, because apparently Blitzcrank is not on the PentaQ.
That's super weird, because we definitely have seen Blitzcrank, but with the magic of movie magic, boom, there's Blitzcrank. Wait a minute. Well, he's there. IQ in fact have found the Blitzcrank, which is hilarious. So that will not be the Blitzcrank as the last lock in for IQ. They're probably going to finish off with a mid laner here. 2 Blitzcranks in one game. That he was listed under tank. See, okay. So IQ's gonna come in with their last lock in. That's gonna be the Veigar. Gonna be some strong teams between the two. A lot of AP over on the side of tempo control, but yeah, let's see. It's pretty standard to me where I think everybody is going right now. I'm gonna hit the ready button here, and it actually will be the Seraphine, I guess, coming in as the mid laner. So not too surprising for that. She is just as strong as she is mid as she is down in support. But what are you thinking looking at these two teams here, same page?
I mean, I think Tempo Control has a very distinct comp where they want to run backwards. They want to utilize their ability to step back, throw up the cage for Veigar, allow Vayne that little bit of wiggle room that she has with her range to really dodge and weave in between the champions and be able to find some key targets to pick out with her true damage shots. Nevertheless, I feel like this Veigar might be a little bit unhappy with his team, especially how AP had, or a little bit of how many AP targets they actually have. I presume this Karma is going to Moonstone and this Gragas is going full tank, which is absolutely fine. Which means the Veigar is a lot happier than it was before, though I feel like the Kha'Zix is going to have a little bit of a hard time actually infiltrating the backline here. Especially they have the similar type of team comp, except for the Udyr that really wants to run forward, which isn't necessarily a huge problem, but comparatively to something like the Cho'Gath who wants to walk backwards, use that Everfrost, use her Rupture and his Silence to really kite out some champions. Anivia wants to set up her Glacial Storm and wall people in with that to maybe look for a counter engage, or even Caitlyn who wants to set up her traps, maybe even in the Glacial Storm of an Anivia, but typically just to be able to start sieging down towers, or even again to walk backwards. His comps are a little bit similar and it has a couple flaws, but I'm very interested of how they are going to be able to do it within the laning phase.
Yep, and with that, with teams being locked in, predictions are going to be open, so go ahead and start placing those tokens down on who you think is going to win game number 1. You either play UAE for UAEB or play IQ for Tempo Control, but looking at these two teams here and what kind of win cons we're going for, obviously, you see the Veigar, you see the Vayne, that just screams late game scale to me. Hold on tight until you get to that 30-minute mark because you are going to become unstoppable monsters. However, UAEB have got that CC, they've got a Seraphine Udyr, which can actually work together quite well if you have an Udyr running up and the Seraphine ult kind of extends through him. And of course, those early game picks that you can look for with the Blitzcrank can be really devastating for not allowing that late game scaling, not allowing IQ to at least go even throughout this early and mid game.
Yes, and it's gonna be a lot of how and what they're gonna do. And I keep saying Anivia, like that Anivia was actually picked, and it was actually a Blitzcrank all along, and I am completely dumbfounded, and my bad for that. All I'm gonna say about the Blitzcrank pick is, at the end of the day, he is a coin flip champion. If he lands heads, he's gonna win a fight. If he lands tails, it might be a game over. Honestly,
no, that's you're totally right on that. I mean, it really depends on how you're utilizing this Blitzcrank, which means early game vision, setting up for picks. I don't see IQ really being out of position or making these crazy pathings around the map, but if it happens, UAEB better be ready with that sight, with that vision, or to find a pull. Be sending that Blitzcrank rotating into the jungle with your Udyr. Like, if you find a pick, a pull and a bear slap is almost guaranteeing at least a summoner out of that exchange. So this early game needs to be played very careful by Tempo Control. They can't let UAEB snowball, because if they do, mid game is just going to turn into an absolute fiesta. And that Cho'Gath is going to offer a lot of frontline to that Vayne before she starts getting to that point where she's able to shred him away. So mid game, early game, I would give it to UAEB, but if IQ can hold on and at least go even till this late game, they've got the draft for it, they've got the champions for it, and they've got the skill to hold on that long. So let's see if they can do it though, Paige.
Definitely, and I will always come down to, who do you think will win?
You know what? I look at these teams. You got lots of tank. You got lots of stuff over there, and I would like to give it to Daily Peach, because I see his Kha'Zix there. I'm like, yo, IQ's gonna take it. But this team comp on UAEB is looking really good. They got lots of poke. They got lots of CC, and they have a Seraphine. So I'm gonna give this game one to them, but it's under those conditions that I talked about previously.
Honestly, I'm going to fight you a little bit on this. I think Tempo Storm's going to take it. IQ's just going to absolutely wipe clean this game, just as long as they don't get blitz hooked.
As long as they don't get blitz hooked. Well, we'll have to see how this one unravels, Paige. Guys, we will be back on the Rift in a short little bit. Make sure to keep getting those predictions in, and don't forget about the raffle that we will be announcing the winner after game number 1. Guys, we'll see you back here soon. Don't go anywhere, because you're not going to want to miss this one.
I saw you smile from across the bar. Yeah, she was pretty and so close but so far. She flipped her hair and I thought, this can't be true. How does a man like me get someone like you? And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies. Just like them, you're coming closer to me. Come shake me, grab me, so I wake up from this dream. I can't breathe, come at me. I don't know if I can speak. Then she said, come with me and let's be free.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to week 7 of the LTS Premade League. We got IQ, Temple Control on the red side, UAEB on the blue side over here, and a couple controversial opinions here, but it really, you were saying it right, Paige. It comes down to how I think 2 key members play here. Blitzcrank is going to be one, because those hooks are going to be so crucial in this early game here for UAE. But Daily Peach, he's got his Kazakhs. And that is scary to me. That just screams, run away. Do not go into the jungle by yourself. Where's your vision? So we already see at least UAE starting to get a little bit of information there in this early game here. Some nice poke actually already from Fauntleroy. So nicely done here. We're going to see a couple early resets, but everybody kind of backing off after that.
Now, honestly, I do genuinely believe that blue side has the better draft in this case, and I will agree with Gurf. But I think this blitzcrank will hit tails, honestly. Nevertheless, though, I am very excited to see how these players interact and how they can dance around the blitzcrank, because I genuinely, I think he is the crush to uncog this late game scaling team. And of course, if they are allowed to get to a point where they get the Vagar getting those stacks and Vayne gets 4 or 5 items, it's going to get a game a lot harder, and it will again all land down to the blitzcrank. Nevertheless, there is a lot of CC coming from UAEB, coming with that Cho'Gath, that Seraphine Encore with Beat Drop, as well as just the OG Bear Slap being able to run that Mach 5 with Chemtech. With Chemtech.
Oh, that blitzcrank pull was so close, just tumbled away by Washed Editor, but he's definitely on the money with that. It's one tumble away, one tumble cooldown away from him finding that Vayne.
One tumble cooldown away.
But you can see the Mantra Q already doing so much damage, but the flash to knock up the level 2 and the pull. That's gonna be the flash away from the Vayne. But Ashcash taking a lot of damage, caught in that trap. That's way too much, and the flash away from the Q plus the heal from Watch Editor. They managed to survive that one, but sums are down on the side of tempo control.
Man, those cupcakes just looked too delicious for Karma, walking into both traps as they were forced to blow both the heal and the flash is absolutely phenomenal for that early game aggression, blowing 2 flashes for 1. Oh!
He's hunting, you know what? He might have flipped the heads this game, because he's hunting some heads right now, and we're just passing that 3-minute mark, actually. We do have a Dragon up in 2 minutes, but we're definitely going to see some action, especially when this Udyr makes his way into this lane, which he is around. Daily Peach is also up by his blue buff, so we might see a collision of junglers around this first scuttle here on the side. Yoyi, again, looking for these pulls. A lot of poke coming out here, and that's the tumble down. That's going to be the pull to knock up the trap, and first blood to the Blitzcrank. You know what? He deserves it.
He deserves it for sure, honestly. Those hooks are they've just got an inch closer every single time. He was getting those robot eyes just to dial in just a little bit of a sliver, and I was able to pick up that hook. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Getting up that first blood to the Blitzcrank. I mean, to be fair, honestly, in all...
Almost. As you were saying, Paige.
In all honesty, I think getting first blood onto the sports are actually better in the early game if you get a couple of it, because you're always going to get to those items anyway as the Caitlyn or whatnot. But getting those extra tank stats, or even whatever the Blitzcrank is going to be building, getting that early supports spike with any of the support items that he's going to be going, I think is actually more valuable than getting something like the Kraken Slayer or Gale Force, for example, for the Cape.
I see the boots, a whole Ruby Crystal come out as well, and the control ward, so it's definitely not a bad first buy. I mean, this early on gives him a little bit of extra survivability against that Vayne and Karma. And of course, I'm glad just to see that bot lane is all, well, with the exception of Caitlyn there, buying those control wards, because you know Daily Peach is going to be making his way bottom soon. We've got the Dragon up in 5 seconds here, so definitely going to be on these junglers' radars in the next minute or so. As let's see, Yoyi looking for it again. Mantra Q will come out to slow him down just a little smidge. That Comet is definitely not bad to pair with that extra bit of poke that's coming out, but you can see he's not taking as much damage as he used to at that early level 1 exchange that we saw. But let's see if he can find another pull here.
And like you said, it's with that extra little bit of HP, a little bit more tankiness, he can be a little bit more liberal with his health pool. He can walk in a little bit more, maybe look for an extra hook or two that he couldn't do it previously because of his health pool. But nevertheless, because they've been able to push this out, they're looking for a cheeky invade, and I wonder if they're going to find Daily Peach at the scrub here.
And this is exactly what I said I wanted to see these two players do. Send the jungler with the support, let him roam. He's going to be right over the wall. Oh, spotted out with the control ward. These two members of UAEB, very close to finding Daily Peach, but you know what? That's definitely good of him to recognize that Blitz is not in that bot lane anymore, and he's looking for maybe even the Hex Flash pull here. He's playing so aggressively, but that's, you know what? I love seeing it.
I mean, to be fair, you kind of got it. You have so much liberal, just able, and just the agility to do it, at least in the lane phase, because what is the Karma and the Vayne supposed to do to really poke you out? They don't have the items yet. The Vayne, at least until he gets one item, I don't think she's going to be able to do anything about it. And being able to really put a lot of pressure, get those early dragons like they're doing right now, and being able to make sure this Vayne doesn't have a good time or a little bit of a rough lane phase, maybe a couple more kills onto something like a Blitzcrank or the Kaylin, it's going to be very crucial.
A lot of damage coming down on the Happy Owl there. IQ cracked, definitely doing some damage. His Daily Peach is roaming around this top side, but I believe he's just here to do a little bit of camp stealing. But yeah, that's, you know what, this is kind of the situation we were talking about with win conditions here in this game. Early and mid right now are in the hands of UAEB. It's totally up to them, so the aggressiveness is totally warranted from Yoyi here as non-stop looking for hooks. We are going to see a little action up towards the top lane, but that will be the pull on to this Vayne. A lot of damage coming down to Watch Editor along with that Ignite. My goodness, they almost find her, but only the heal burn. The flash is still up.
Like we were just saying, it's just all up to the Blitzcrank, and it looks like I lost Scurf. My gamble was on is not there, as the Blitzcrank is just looking for hook after hook, trying to catch some really tight positionings onto the Vayne. But nevertheless, just looking at the two junglers, after the red buff or the blue buff steal off to the Daily Peach, they are. It looks like that XZ4 was a little bit upset of that. And due to the fact he was going for a counter invade, looking for Daily Peach's red, but unfortunately unable to find it, as the Gragas and the Veigar was able to easily respond.
While we're talking about junglers, this is a 1-0 game, by the way, but you can see already it's a 1.5k gold lead for UAEB. And just take a look at some of the CS numbers across the board. That Udyr is almost 30 CS ahead. This man is farming like an animal.
And like we were saying, unless Daily Peach can get a cup.
I'll just 1 second there. The cask went a little wide there, and the flash in the chop. It's not going to be enough. Just out of range of that execute as the healing was coming through. Cho'Gath takes a turret shot that he did not want to take, and that exchange ends up going on over to Cracked.
Man, that was just a blunder by a blunder, looking for that flash chomp. Maybe he saw it for a split second, or the execute damage would have went through to kill the Gragas, but unfortunately, he drank a little bit of his cast, got a little bit of HP back, and really baited the Cho'Gath into the enemy top tower.
Washed is thankfully going to have that flash up. Q will not land, but Ace in the Hole is actually coming out. Ashcash surviving with a sliver of health along with their ADC, but this is going to be a lot of plates, or at least a couple plates, going on over to this bot side of UAEB. A lot of gold already in their pockets. Even if it's not in kills, the CS numbers and the plates are really starting to add up here.
Yes, it's just the little advantages over and over again, just slowly picking up. Even though it's coming closer to a 2k gold lead at this point. It's more like, it's about 1.5 at the moment, plus or minus, but that's still just, those little advantages mean a lot, especially once we get to maybe potentially third dragon or so. I just presume that tempo control IQ is going to be sacrificing both the first two dragons, especially just how the champions are working out. They really want that first in or second item if they can afford it.
Absolutely. But that is definitely tough to do. I mean, it's not as a fault that IQ hasn't been farming well. They have been just getting harassed this entire game. We're going to see the belly bump will land, but the rupture is there on the crack. But Cask is there to disengage because now there are some numbers coming up. Yoyi is up in the top lane. What are you doing up here, Yoyi? But I don't think it matters because there's the knock up, there's the silence, and the ignite comes down. However, he's going to jump on out. Rupture is going to be a little wide, and somehow Cracked is going to get out of that. Wow.
Yoyi, the minion, that was so unfortunate. He thought that he had the wide open road where he could just get the easy pullback, but unfortunately the minion, the hero minion, just went in front of the Grags and says, "I will protect you, sir." And being able to save Cracked from getting his demise, as he can safely TP back and collect those minions.
And that didn't really cost him too much. He's actually going to get caught by that rupture there, so he can't quite chase that Shogat down. But, I mean, he backed off and TP'd right back to lane. So, really, this isn't going to affect that Gragas too much. And maybe a chance for IQ to look for something else, some other advantage on the side of the map. We do have this Cloud Dragon just spawning on the map and some pings coming out around it. So, definitely got to watch for this. Daily Peach has been spotted by a ward. He's going to back with that empowered recall with the Herald Eye. And this dragon is going to be started up. Knowing that Kha'Zix is backed up means another free Cloud Drake for the side of UAE. But what kind of soul do we got here? Ocean or Mountain? Ocean or Infernal? Crap. It's Infernal.
Infernal.
Yes.
I didn't. I was like, I was on the bottom.
Well, to be fair, I might have messed you up. I said Mountain when we already seen a Mountain in this game, but I like the Infernal. We get extra damage. We get bigger team fights. I love to see it. So, see who's going to pick it up first.
I think this is a real tide turner. If and only if IQ is just able to slither in a dragon or two, making a 5-minute or even a 10-minute timer before Soul is actually appearing onto the map, or Soul Point, will be absolutely fantastic for him. The later this game goes, IQ has a better and better chance to really start picking up the pace. Nevertheless, they're taking their time with it. You know, they saw they got rid of both dragons just so they can be able to keep up with CS, and they're okay. They're super happy with the trade, even though they're 2k gold down. Blitzcrank.
That was very, I mean, the tumble was on point, but Ashkash was right behind that vein. I was very concerned for the poor Karma, almost eating that Blitzcrank hook. But nonetheless, you're totally right. They're playing this very safe. They're playing this exactly how they want to down here. Being cautious every time that they don't have their summons. You can definitely see a difference in their play right now. Knowing that vein flash is down, they are not going to push too far. They just can't afford to take those risks. So, you know what? Accepting the reality of what this lane is and just kind of dealing with it until you know you get your power spike. So very good on the side of tempo control to be doing this so far. Daily Peach dropping off the Herald there in the mid lane. Gonna get a little charge off there. At least a turret plate or two. Over to the side there is... Oh yes, see the cast coming out on Cracked. But that Feast is up and available. However, a lot of damage coming out of this Gragas. Rupture will not land that time. Plating is going to be falling as well too. So... that gold is off the map. A little exchange there from our top laners. And oh, flash for flash. He knew the flash belly bump was coming out of Cracked, and very well responded by Happy All.
A little bit close there, as it was a nice and well-timed notion where he realizes he was a little bit out of mana, not being able to feast. But it looks like he feasts the minion anyways. But it looks like Gragas is in the same boat where he just runs out of mana, and it's just going to turn into a slap fight if they keep going like this.
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit of a wet noodle fight at times there, but both top laners are still dealing out some decent damage. However, the setup here in this bot lane is Yoyi going on in, the flash in, the knock up there, the Mantra Q to try and slow them down, but it's not going to be enough. Mr. Cookie there picks up that kill with that Caitlyn Q. The Piltover Peacemaker, that's a tongue twister. Gotta say that 10 times fast. I'd rather not on stream, but here they go. As UAE is going to pick up this first turret of the game, that bot tier 1 about to drop, and this is going to be nice to set up this bot side of the jungle. Take over that vision. As you can see, Daily Peach has kind of avoided this side of the map. He's kind of stuck around to the top, which has been nice for Herald taking. and at least he's getting some scuttles. He's been able to invade a couple times too, but this bot side, it's kind of closed off. It's roped off, saying no peaches allowed. Sorry.
Sorry, no peaches allowed. Honestly, completely fair. And I was going to say, I was going to just give a little bit of a shout out for Washed Editor to keep up in CS for so long. Only at one point, or before that death, a key, mind you, that was a really good kill onto the side of the bot lane jungler for UAEB. But nevertheless, I do want to say how well the Vayne is actually farming comparatively of how much pressure he's been putting on, or getting put on, especially with the Caitlyn, who completely outranges her, and the Blitzcrank, who's just having a fantastic time just throwing out hooks left and right.
And now, you know what? I might take back my last statement about the Peach free zone, because we see the Karma getting a little bit of vision. They know that Blitzcrank is up in the top lane as he's clearing out that control ward. So it's been an exchange of sides. Shelly is currently being picked up by UAE. And there is going to be a dragon on this map in 30 seconds. However, UAE has plenty of time to rotate on over. And now we start to see this bot lane of IQ start to step up a little bit, dealing some poke into the Shogath. But he is Shogath, you know. He's got a lot of health. He's got a lot of base tank in him. He is able to take a little bit of that harassment. However, Infernal up in 15. Let's see who's going to be going for it.
Now, in my opinion, I think this Rift Herald was a little bit early. They could have placed it a little bit later, so when the dragon was actually spawning, they would have to respond to the...
Oh boy, what's breaking out in the bot lane as Yoyi in with the triple silence and the pull there, but he's going to be getting shredded down. However, Happy Owl on the backside trying to find a bear slap, but Daily Peach comes on over the wall to kill that Blitzcrank. It's going to be a double kill for the Kazakhs. The Buggy Boy's going in. He sidesteps the Seraphine ult, but he's trying to step back. Cask is there to knock Mr. Cookie to the side, but the flash away from the Caitlyn keeps him alive. There's the Peacemaker once again, finding a kill for Mr. Cookie. However, that's going to be the cage. Mr. Cookie's in a bad spot, but caught in a trap. There's so much CC from either side. Fauntleroy able to pick up that Blitzcrank, and now the chase is being turned around. UAEB are on the offensive, but boom! There goes the outplay button. That Udyr is going to disappear so damn fast. Daily Peach still trying to sniff around for another kill, but with this TP coming down, they drop the cage, and everybody backs on off for now.
I was originally gonna say that was a fantastic 2 pickups from Daily Peach, and they should just back up here and be happy with their take so they can go for it. But they wanted more, and unfortunately, they were just they overextended a little bit, and then got another 2 kills off to the side for IQ's favor, and then now they even overextended and was able to get a kill back. It was just an absolute mess, but at the end of the day, UAEB was able to pick up the dragon, which is huge. Soul point, 5 minutes.
That's an insanely early soul for them, and that's exactly what they came into this game knowing that they have to do, knowing that this late game is going to be potentially dominated by IQ. They are just all gas right now, and not letting up one single moment as they actually have a turret taken from them. That's going to be the first one there for IQ as they knock down that mid-tier 1. And in my opinion, probably the best of the turrets to be taken out as, Happy Owl taking a bit of damage there, but we had another fight breaking down the mid lane. Big Seraphine ult, but an even bigger outplay button there from the Vigar. My goodness, his ult seems fair. Seems fair to me.
Yeah, it seems okay, you know? It's okay.
Doing 928 damage already at this point, but editor.
Also is fair.
I don't know about this. It's 2v1. That number doesn't line up. However, look at Mr. Cookie, almost able to find the trade kill onto the enemy ADC, but unfortunately, Yoyi has been a bit of a nuisance to tempo control this game, and rightfully so on that Blitzcrank. He's doing his job.
Exactly, and this is exactly what he needs to be, starting to set people further and further behind and be able to pick out key targets like the Vayne or the Veigar, while the Wet Noodle fight is absolutely having a blast bot lane.
An interesting little flash there. Happy Owl does have the feast available in 20 seconds, but no mana to follow up. This would be so ideal if that show had that ultimate available, but nope, he's just going to back on off, and without a flash, unfortunately for him, but I don't know if that's a big issue on the show. I believe he's got 6 stacks already. Yes, he does. So getting pretty tanky there with the 26, almost 2,700 health that he's sitting on.
And TV, absolutely, just to give another...
Daily Peach just playing with fire.
Yeah. I have to hold my breath every time there's a Blitzcrank cooking.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. We want to talk about something as soon as you see Blitzcrank hiding in a bush. Just like, hold on, don't speak, don't even blink, don't breathe, don't do anything, because he's gonna look for it every single time. However, XZ4 here on this side of the map, he's flying around quite nicely. This Udyr's definitely got that movement speed up and running. 528 as he just kind of pumps himself up there. He might looks for a bear flash here, but again, hold your breath. Yo-Yi is floating around in these bushes under control wards, and he's calling for those assist pings, so you know he's fishing. He's always fishing.
He's always fishing. He must be a fisherman in real life looking for those handy-dandy hooks. Maybe he's an English major, too. I mean... But nevertheless, I did want to say... Sorry, I just thought it was funny. I'll be here, you know. But nevertheless, I'm actually very interested, and I don't know if it's the absolute best way to play Kha'Zix here, but he goes for the Prowler's Claw. We saw it in the other fight where he dodged the Seraphine ultimate down to the bot lane, where they had the double overextension from both sides here. But be careful.
Oh, that's going to be the condemn, but the Chilling Smite enough to slow her down. Bear Slap is there. One silence will do it, and one last auto. However, it will eventually be melted down by that red buff, by the big bad Udyr running around. Very nice pick there, but there's going to be another one in the river as that's picked up by Babs. The outplay button coming through once again to find his second kill of the game. Not too bad, but up in the top lane, UAE still pushing those turrets advantage. Looking to get some more gold under their belt currently. Still 1k ahead, so it's not been a massive lead here for UAE, which tells me IQ is definitely still in this game. They can definitely still aim for that late game scaling. Even if you have an 0-5 Vayne, it doesn't look particularly great here at 22.5 minutes, but there's a chance.
There definitely is a chance, and like you said, even though the Vayne is 0-5 at the moment, I do want to say that they put all the resources to set this Vayne behind, and while they were setting this Vayne behind, Kha'Zix and Veigar has been doing whatever they want to be doing. He just picked up a Banshee's Veil right now, so Blitzcrank's going to have a lot harder time getting those nice and clean hooks onto the Veigar, while the only real target at this point until the Banshee's Veil is down is the Vayne. But the Vayne at this point, even though, again, he's 0-5, he's not going to do terribly now. Banshee's Veil saving his life right now.
Yes, but a huge Seraphine Ace the hole comes through. Daily Peach is immediately jumping on that back line. UAEB losing a few members here, but so are Tempo Control. The Greg is looking to possibly go back in. That Blitzcrank Cook's not going to find another. Daily Peach taken out, and it's a triple kill for Mr. Cookie. Nice setup there. Fauntleroy with a beautiful ulti to lock down all those members here, but not done yet. Ooh, belly bump in and Everfrost. That's chilly. That's just cold.
Oh. I do want to say this dragon is looking a little scary. Infernal Soul off the way.
Yep, while we're distracted with that fight, UAE's just going to go ahead and say, you know what, go ahead, fight all you want. We locked you down with our CC. We're going to go ahead and take this dragon, especially the fact that Daily Peach was down, couldn't look for that steal. That is going to be so good for them to have that Infernal. However, Mr. Cookie, oh, very close, almost gets caught by that bot, but Yo-Yi, oh no! He gets caught in the cage and faces the wrath of that ultimate from the Veigar. My goodness. He's sitting at 426 AP, still counting.
Still counting, but at this point, they have an Infernal Soul, and Elder's going to be spawning soon in about 5 minutes or so, and that's just going to be an absolute disaster if IQ can't get themselves ahead, but they look like they're going to be going for a Baron, and there's no wards.
No,
there's nothing.
There's nothing. They don't have any vision over this. XC4 is up here. He's just going to find all these members of Tempo Control just sitting around here. That's going to be the match at E as well, too. Shield them all up, but locked down and knocked away with the Condemn. Ace in the hole is coming through, but the Baron will be secured by Tempo Control. Cho'Gath looking to start this fight off as the front wall, but he's getting shredded down a lot faster than he might have thought. Cracked! Going to be able to find that show. A lot of damage still coming out of UAE, but it's going to be Tempo Control on the chase, and Yo-Yi, oh no, he's caught. in the cage once more and having to deal with 5 members of Temple Control. It's way too much. He gets Primordial Bursted again, and Temple Control is going to get out with a Baron. My goodness.
4-0 and a Baron on top of IQ Tempo Control. All I'm going to say, that swung the gold all the way over to maybe a 2k lead ahead towards an IQ victory. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking we are reaching that point where IQ is coming online. We see the Vayne with an item and a half. She's got those tier 2 boots. Even in that fight, the Cho'Gath was starting to be the wall there, or at least was attempting to be the wall, and we saw his health bar disappear right before our very eyes, much faster than I think he might have anticipated too. So this is kind of a clutch moment for UAE they need to find a pick or something, because these 5v5s are not going too great for them. So they really need to utilize Yoyi here. He can't get caught in the cage again because they need this Blitzcrank pull very soon, and it's going to be a question on who it actually goes onto, because, you know, that Vigor with the Banshee's Veil, it's already saved them twice. However, caught in the cage, Chilling Smite coming down to get rid of that spell shield. However, there are numbers down here from Tempo Control to make sure he stays safe. Daily Peach is on this side of the map too. This is getting very close, and Tempo Control really flexing their muscles here as that Ace in the hole used in the mid lane here. A lot of damage coming down onto Wash Editor. We got a fight breaking out in the mid lane here, but in comes Yoyi. The silence is there, and that last final crit is going to take out Washed. My goodness.
Honestly, if the Blitzcrank wasn't there, I think Caitlyn would have died there.
I think that might have been a possibility, but look at the Seraphine. Massive ult there as X is caught in the cage along with the Seraphine, but he's going to face the wrath of that Vigor ultimate. On the other side of the map, though, you can see UAE has been pushing. Happy Y'all has been pushing all around the map, and Daily Peach is now being an absolute menace here. He cannot be stopped. He finds one, he finds two. Seraphine was able to take down a Karma in the bot lane, and Bats is still pushing. This is a nutty game right now, Paige.
It's absolutely all over the place. So Cho'Gath has been split pushing his Happy Merrily Lay for the next 2 minutes. There's going to be a TP. Maybe they're going to be looking for an end here. It's going to be brought back with a counter TP from the Cho'Gath. There's no CC on the side of Daily Peach, so it goes through scot-free, as it looks like there's going to be a nice back off from IQ here. An absolutely stellar play, initially coming in from that Caitlyn Blitzcrank combo, taking down the Vayne in the mid lane, getting a tower for free. Looking to the top lane, the Cho'Gath was getting a tower for free, but I do want to say, for that repercussion, and for IQ, they were able to run through the ball lane and get a free inhibitor. I don't even know if that's worth.
You know what? That's it's definitely going to be interesting to see how these waves start pushing, because this can potentially impact Tempo Control in the way they might not want at this point. However, again, 28.5-minute mark. Give it a couple more. We see Vayne with the Phantom Dancer now, so that is going to be a lot more damage coming out of her. A little bit more survivability as well too, but it's one pick away. It's one Blitz pick away. It's one Vigor cage away from this game potentially exploding for either of these teams, because I think they both have the ability to finish off each other's base if a team gets aced here.
Definitely. This is getting to the point where the 30-minute time is hitting. The Banshee's Veil saving him so many times. What an amazing pick up for the Vayar, but nevertheless, Baby Cage goes out. I do want to say, 30 minutes is here, and it's here to stay. The late game monsters are creeping in, and like I always say, for the later scaling comp, if you get to that 30-minute mark, they're gonna have a lot better time. But like we said, the Blitzcrank is the most important member.
Oh no, you might need that break wall in front of your team too, and that is going to be a heavy loss here to UAE. This is might just turn into a base race question mark. This is interesting.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's the best way to do it. They are gonna go for the Elder Dragon. Maybe they can do the TSM moment, but there is a little bit of minions. There's gonna be 2 people backing up to try to secure this, to secure it so they don't lose the game. The Udir's looking to steal it. He's gonna
Oh no, that Elder's way too much health. He gets slammed into the wall with the Condemn and just wiped away. IQ gonna pick up that Elder. And now UAE who had the control this entire game, who was able to pick up Soul Point, are on the run right now. Big Seraphine ult, but that Mantra E to get that team out. Everfrost to slow them down a little bit more. Oh, Minion will block them. And Yoyi with a beautiful catch, but it's not over yet. They still have to get out. IQ still on the chase as they are barreling down this mid lane right now. Able to take out that tier 2, but oh no, Yoyi! Oh, no. Not the place you want to be. He gets caught out. He flashes in trying to look for something, but unable to do so. A lot of turret damage coming down onto Cractus. That's going to be Daily Peach going in and dominating. He blows up the ADC. Watch Editor. No. He's going to get numbed up by the Cho'Gath, but double kill here for Daily Peach. He's going to get picked off there. A little too many turret shots for him, but flash over the cage. XZ4 is looking to go back in, but the Elder is what's cleaning up here. One more auto will do it. Boom! Down they go. That's going to be the ace. You do have Yoyi back up in 10 seconds, but I think that's just going to be the game here for Tempo.
Oh man, it was a back and forth. Daily Fish won for that Cho'Gath very early on, sacrificing his life there, and it looks like the entire onslaught was going to go to waste, but it looks like this may be the game here. The Caitlyn is going to be up in 10 seconds though. Blitzcrank clearing the wave off, but it looks like it doesn't even matter. It's just the end of the game.
That one is done. Blitz gets blown up one more time, but GG's as IQ turn things around. They find the win, but damn if UAE did not give them a run for their money that entire early and mid game. That was such a great game to watch.
It was just, like we said, or like what I was saying, even though the Vayne was mega pressured from the Blitzcrank and the Caitlyn 24/7, every lane she tried to switch to the Caitlyn and the Blitzcrank was already there. The problem is that the Veigar and the Kha'Zix was able to do whatever they wanted, and you can see even from the KDA standpoint, they were just being able to run over the game even though the Vayne was 0-8.
Yeah, that we definitely talked about it. There was a few moments there where maybe UAE could have pushed those advantages and looked for an end around the 25-minute mark, but unfortunately, this goes, well, not unfortunate for Tempo Control, because that's exactly the win con that they were going to hit, and it only took them a minute 44 after that 30-minute mark to really close things out. So really well played by them. Yeah, great game to watch, guys.
Yeah, it was a very exciting game, and I'm excited for game 2.
Absolutely, and with that, those tokens have been dealt out to those of you who participated in the predictions. We are going to pop open that player of the game poll right now, so just hold on for that, because that's going to be up. Let us know who you think deserves player of the game after game number 1 from our members on IQ. And of course, when we get back, we'll be announcing our player of the game. We'll be announcing our token winner from our first raffle of the night, and why not? Let's just start a second one, because that's what we like to do here, have some fun, and then game 2. There's the breakdown. Then you guys know what's up. Check out these damage graphs before we hop on out so you can choose your player of the game, but my goodness, it was a great thing to watch, but we still got at least another game here, Paige, so why don't we let these players get ready, let ourselves get ready, and then we'll be back with all that action.
See you then.
supposed to feel like. I can show you what love's supposed to be. I can show you what love's supposed to feel like. I can show you, yeah, I can show you, yeah.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to week 7 of the LTS. We got our first player of the game, which is going to be Wash Editor, who hung on all the way until that 30-minute mark and still came through for his team. Some beautiful condemns there to stop that Elder Steel at the very end, but it was definitely a big group effort from Tempo Control there and really well played, honestly, in that bot lane. Even though the KDA says, well, you know what, here's what we do, we just take that, we just take that away, we just take it away. Doesn't matter, because you hold on to late game and you take the win with your late scaling comp. So that was really well played by Tempo Control, and I loved to see them how safe they played and how quickly they turned things around as soon as they realized, hey, you know what, we got some spikes here, let's get this show rolling.
And all I'm going to say is it's absolutely insane to me how they were able to turn around an Infernal Soul. In my opinion, the best possible soul UAEB had to offer there. But nevertheless, I'm super excited to see what this game 2 offers and see some changes around. Do you think there's going to be anything that's going to be banned?
You know what? There's a chance that Daily Peach doesn't get his Kha'Zix again this time, because even though, it wasn't like he went like 28 and 0 on something like it, right? But he still was able to take these 1v2s, sometimes 1v3s, right? He was able to find those picks along the backside, and that really, really impacted how UAE was able to manage these fights. So I think just to take him off a comfort champion like that might be the call here for Tempo Control. But we'll have to see when we hop into this draft, which is not too far around the corner. We are just getting up in our draft here. We're ready to go very soon, but before we do that, we got to announce our raffle winner. So let's see if I can find a drum roll effect that that doesn't last 50 seconds here. There we go, 10 seconds. Drum roll, please, as we come on. Our winner for our first raffle tonight is gonna be Sir Andros. Look at that timing. Look at that timing. Congratulations, Sir Andros. We'll get those points over to you in a second before my YouTube decide betraying me. We possibly get DMCA'd, but we'll have those over to you in no time, as we will get another raffle up right now, so you can enter that right now until the end of game 2. Make sure to actually add those points here. Add points at Sir Andros 250. Let's see. Boom. There we go. 250 points for you to participate in those predictions coming up very soon. We are going to pop up that next raffle here, and then we are going to flip on over to draft, guys, because these players are ready. We are ready, and let's flip it on over. Beautiful. Whoop. There we are. We're all lined up. These are not the picks from this game. These are the picks from last game. So all we're going to do is simply press this button and make them go away. Excellent. Let's give them the ready button and start this show up.
I'm super excited what they're going to be doing. Just looking at the last draft a little bit as it popped up in the screen, I really think not showing your jungler so early is probably key, or maybe even getting rid of some of Daily Peach's main junglers. Nevertheless, I do think, even though Daily Peach always plays a really fascinating way to play, his build was a little bit off. I mean, in my opinion, I felt like Dust plays a little bit better there, and building Collector and LDR was a little bit weird champ in my eyes, but nevertheless, he's still a fantastic player. And I do want to say that the Veigar played phenomenally as well, just playing around his cage and being able to really set up to a point where even the Blitzcrank was having a hard time really stepping in. But I'm really excited to see what is coming over to this next game. And I do think the Hecarim's going to be banned again, but I do believe that it's going to be more of a UAEB ban than an IQ ban, but I don't know.
Yep. Getting the ready here, just waiting on UAEB there, but there we go. Timer is ready, and now we're going to get to see some bans coming through, but I would think, yeah, you return to some of those similar stuff that you don't want to see from game one. The Samira, the Echo, the Ezreal were all taken away from IQ last game, so I wonder if they return to that or if they target something that was in that game. And like I said too, it wasn't so much collectively one champion in that game. It was just all of Temple Control saying, we're late game, we're online. Oh, look, it's 30 minutes. Let's go.
Yep, the 30-minute clock. Everybody gets it when she goes super far into the game. If you can win within 30 minutes, you are taking the game away. But if you cannot and it goes past that 30-minute mark, the scaling copy usually has the favored mode. Anyway, Kha'Zix instantly off the board.
Yep, they don't want to see it from Daily Peach. They don't want to. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to have it. They don't want to have any of it. So it is going to be taken away, but return to that Samira ban as well.
Now, they're going back to what they've done before, and I'm interested to see what the last UAEB ban will be.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll be the Hecarim, but maybe they're banking on IQ banning the Hecarim again. Because I do see that XZ4 is a Hecarim player by trade, and he's not afraid first picking his jungler.
Yeah, they could definitely do that. And, you know, if Hecarim does squeeze its way through here, say, you know, they take away the Echo from IQ here and just go for that first pick Hecarim. He's a strong jungler. You can kind of draft a lot of things around him. So it's never a bad pick, especially when you know both these junglers play Hecarim. So the Veigar is going to go, and you definitely mentioned that one. Babs was doing really well on that. The cages were really on point, so he's going to be sitting on the bench this game. And IQ realizing that Hecarim is up at this point, knowing that UAEB can potentially pick him, I think the safest thing for them is to just ban it. But they actually take away the Udyr, which was first picked last game. Totally safe to ban that as well too, but this kind of forces UAEB to potentially pick Hecarim or lose it to IQ in the next round.
I do think if they do not pick the Hecarim up here, IQ's just going to take it straight away. As you know, Hecarim is such a strong jungler, especially if he's able to be piloted well. And Daily Peach is not a bad pilot on that champion, or especially using the onslaught of shallows and being able to use that relentless assault to cross the finish line and bring his team a victory. Nevertheless, they are taking their time, and let's see if they do pick the Hecarim. And I see
maybe some
a little bit overtime.
Maybe a little bit of leg. There has been some issues with that recently with PentaQ, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they're able to find all their champions this game. That was definitely a definitely call out by Tempo Control last game, flashing the blitz at the end.
Maybe they need they may need to have some reading glasses done for them because they might have some eyesight problems, but nevertheless, Lilia first pick. I think Lilia is a great champion because she can be flexed into two ways of play. Moonstone, which is a lot more controlling. You're throwing a lot of E's out, some bowling balls, getting that healing done, and then you're being a lot more controlled. Or you can be the 1v9 Lilia, where you get Leandries into Hourglass and you flash QR everybody in Zhonya's. Nevertheless, both are very successful, and both have been seen both has been seen in pro play. But IQ is going back to the basics and picking the Gragas again.
Yep.
Maybe this is a flex pick that they have with the support, but I am presuming again this will be a top lane neutralizing pick, and I'm wondering if UAEB knows that if it's going to be top lane, actually an enchanter is best into Gragas because it outscales and outperforms Gragas into the late game. But I wonder what they're going to be picking up with the Ezreal.
But potentially here, you know, showing that Lilia, you know, has allowed IQ to be like, okay, fine, they have their jungler, we don't have to worry about that Hecarim. unless it's something like a Lilia top, I don't see them doing that. It's been a little while since we've seen her flex in the top lane. But, you know, there's always a chance that UAB decides to take Hecarim top in this. Again, hasn't been seen in a while, but it is still a potential option here if they wanted to do something like deny a pick from IQ here. However, I think if it doesn't show here for UAEB, IQ are going to take that as their R3 before the bans start to come through, just as a safe little pickup to them. It depending if they even want the Hecarim. We're saying, you know what, these guys love Hecarim. They might be thinking something completely else, but Camille coming through here and Galio, that's what you like to see. That's the Wombo combo. With those two ults, the Hextech Ultimatum and the Heroic Entrance pair up so nicely in 5v5s. Love to see it.
Now, you know that Galio's probably going into support, but it is a fantastic flex for the mid lane and the support role. Nevertheless, the Camille Galio Wombo combo is fantastic, and this Lilia is probably going into the mode where she goes for that Leandri's, goes for that Zania's, and really gets her hands greasy. Get down into the dirt and starts rumbling with people. And it looks like his Vi, the Daily Teach Full Lethality Vi, is coming out. I'm actually very interested at how this is going to play out, especially Vi is a very one-dimensional character who's very red, who's very wants to get in your face, very aggressive. I'm surprised he picks it with his team comp, where even though Ezreal can switch on to that very aggressive mode by Eing in, Gragas is a little bit left behind unless he can get some fantastic Gragas combos, which, you know, may need to be practiced.
And it depends really. Also, another thing to bring up, how Watch Editor is going to be building on this Ezreal, because recently we've seen stuff come up like the Duskblade, which it's not usual to our usual late game. That sounds kind of funny, but anyways, it's not the norm where we usually see Ezreal scale into the late game, then become that late game monster. It flips that switch a lot earlier than you would think, and you know, around that 15-20 minute mark, Ezreal's pumping out some serious damage. You pair that up with the Vi as well too. This could mean the mid game is what IQ are looking for, to really dominate that, really get the control of all the objectives they possibly can. And with Daily Peach on that Vi, I believe I did have the privilege of seeing it last split just one time, but my god, it was hot. I'm very excited to see him whip this one out this game.
There's a lot of little nooks and crannies he loves to bring this Vi, this Full Lethality Vi out into the Rift, but it's really going to be high performance and high pressure on Daily Peach to perform on this pick, especially that there's some really nasty CC already brewing with the UAEB comp, where if they really wanted to, they either can go full force with this type of style and start running for him, or they can go for more of the I guess stand your ground, where they can go for something that makes Daily Peach to come in and instantly just say, nope, we're standing right here, good luck, type of feel. But nevertheless, the Aphelios and the Jinx are coming for the bans onto the side for Mr. Cookie himself, but I'm very interested in what he's going to be banning the last. Maybe he's going for I don't know what to really look for.
I can't see him going Caitlyn again, because in this situation, having the Vi is very scary as a Caitlyn, because your only escape is your net. Even if they're sisters, they're not going to get along well if they're on the opposite teams there. You got to know that coming into this game, so maybe something with a little bit more mobility. Kai'Sa is still available too, and that is still a very strong pick here in 11.5. I mean, that is definitely up there, I think, with their S/A tier ADCs at this point. But waiting on UAB for that last ban to come through.
They really enjoy over the clock.
It's late. I hope it's late. I really hope it's late. But Rakan actually going to be banned out. Might be a special pick there for Ashkash. I know in higher elo, Rakan definitely is a more prevalent pick, because, oh my god, I honestly can't sing praises for Rakan enough. He has everything you want in a support kit. He's got your shields, he's got your dashes, he's got knock up, he's got charm, he's got heal, you name it, he's got it. So to take that away, and knowing that you're looking at a dive heavy comp here with a Gragas and a Vi, that definitely takes away some good options if that is a comfort pick from Ashkash taken away.
Really, and it looks like the is going to be picked up, throwing that a little bit more onto the wayside and saying, hey, we're going to get in your face, so you better be prepared for it.
Yep, and this is actually going to be for Babs there in the mid lane. So we know the Vi is heading towards Daily Peach, and he can play the Echo too, but it's Vi jungle. Like, come on. However, it's a strong pick and also feeds into this dive comp that IQ are putting together. However, I would like to see maybe some answers from UAEB on what they're going to do with this. Their support pick is still, well, unless it is the Galio support, they could be thinking maybe we do flex him into the mid lane. The Vayne is actually going to be coming through. And I think with the Condemns, that's at least one nice, really nice answer to say, hey, stay away from me. Stop diving me. No, thank you.
I'm actually very scared of this Vayne if it is going to be a Vayne pick here, as it looks like it is that Daily Peach is going to have open arms for that pick, especially that he's going fully out. He's just going to absolutely one pop the Vayne, where he can go Q auto R and just say goodbye if he really gets his steam rolling. Nevertheless, it's still going to be not too shabby of a pick, especially that you have that Condemn where you can knock back Vi's Salt and Bad? No, that's not. What is Vi's Q? Anyway, Vi's Q coming in, but
that's
Thresh,
what I want to see.
That's nice.
That's exactly what I wanted to see here. Thresh is a great disengaged champ. Flay away, flay away, flay away. That is.
Flay away.
Flay. No. We're gonna get DMCA'd. But that's a good one there for sure. The Vi, the Echo, the Greg is all a big nope with that Flay. So definitely going to be using it for more of a defensive standpoint. It does mean Galio is going into the mid lane against that Echo.
I think they're trolling.
No, okay, they might be. Just a little shout out to game one there. But honestly, you put a hook with a hook champion, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think that's terrible, but you want more engaged, so maybe something that can jump on the enemy. A Rel would be really good here as well too. Offers a lot of tank, a lot of CC, and a lot of engage potential that IQ could follow up with, along with that tankiness. But
it is a Blitzcrank.
They're gonna go with the Blitzcrank. Why not? They're gonna say, you know what? We saw you play it first, Yoyi, and Ashkash just wants to prove him wrong. Say I'm the better Blitzcrank tonight. Honestly, support is a bit of a measuring contest at this point, but it's fun. That's what makes it fun, because you're like, who can support better? And now we're gonna get to see the reverse here. But double hook champions in that bot lane does mean these ADCs have to be a little bit aware of what's going on. However, once the Ezreal gets his E, I mean, a Thresh hook is not going to be as scary as a Blitzcrank hook on a Vayne.
Definitely not, but I do want to say this is a Thresh favorite matchup, where if Blitzcrank does get the pull off, you can just instantly lantern the AD carry to the side where you can pick it up. It may be a little bit too late at that point, but there is the availability to do so in that type of comp when it's an Ezreal Blitzcrank versus a Vayne Thresh. But nevertheless, I'm super excited to see what they can offer inside the laning phase, especially that I presume this Lilia isn't going for the Moonstone build, going for that hyper get in, get out type of style where you try to get that 4 or 5 man sleeps with the Zhonya pickup, with the assistance, with the Camille and the Galio, who wants to really get into that backline, make sure that Ezreal in specific, but even that Echo or the Vi can't really do much, maybe even lock them up, and make sure Vi can't just instant hop on the Vayne, where Camille can just straight up ulti or exec ultimatum the Vi.
Yep. And we might have lost Ashkash there. Oh, oopsie, we're in blind pick. Oopsie. We're in blind pick, so players are just remaking their lobby right now. So we're gonna get that going very, very soon. But yeah, looking at these picks here, the Gragas back up top for Cracked. He was definitely really good on it last time. It's just an absolute harassment from every single time he went to go for a fight here. I guess we're going into the other one here. Yep, we're going into Daily Peach's game? Question mark? Yep, there we are.
But I do want to continue down the road of talking about this draft a little bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, just how aggressive IQ comp is. They're really trying to push for that early game advantage. So I do expect the Duskblade ER or the ER Duskblade build, whatever comes first, I forget, to come out onto the Ezreal to still really start packing a punch very early on to try to make this game absolutely unplayable for UAEB. Nevertheless, though, they have some fallback onto UAEB there, where they actually, in my opinion, scales a little bit better than IQ does, even though IQ does have some disruption with the Gragas ultimate, some terrain control with the Gragas in general, some really heavy pick with the Vi and the Ezreal shooting that banana across the lane, as well as the Echo being able to tumble across and find his way back into a safer position. But we keep losing people because
Paige, you want to hop in the spectator here, and then we'll get our teams. I'm like, wait a minute, Sam now starting as the jungler for UAE. Same Page.
Yeah, I'm hopping in. I feel like they need a little bit of a stronger jungler.
No, they're both these teams are looking hella good. Yeah, we're just getting these guys organized. That Blitzcrank as the pick there for the ready check. We'll let our players know we are ready to go. Just I can't see the all chat, so I'll let Ashkash know we are ready, unless they're listening to us. And then they listen.
All of them, every single one of them.
How dare you look at the live draft that you're also drafting at the same time we're drafting?
Wow, how dare you? Yeah, exactly.
But while we are waiting right now, there is currently a raffle open for another 250 Legends tokens. Make sure to enter that. We're going to be announcing our winner after game number 2. And as well, we kind of have the lineups ready to go already. I've done the editing on here, so we're going to go ahead and open up the predictions while these teams get ready. So go ahead and place those tokens down onto who you think is going to win game number 2. If UAEB is going to take it to a game 3, or if Temple Control takes it in that 2-0 fashion.
And I do want to specify as well, back to the Blitzcrank motto, if he flips heads, the game's over. If he flips tails, it's a little bit of a rougher game, but nevertheless, I do want to think that his targets this game is going to be the Vayne. It's going to be Lilia and Camille as well, so he has a little bit more options. Maybe if possible, he can throw Thresh as well, so there's no counterbalance where he can't just hook maybe Daily Peach out of his queue and really put a damper into things where she can't really put, or Daily Peach can't put enough damage to the table. But nevertheless, I'm still super excited at how this matchup works. Galio is going to be a very big neutralizer. We already know Camille Gragas from Pro Play, where Gragas just neutralizes the Camille until late game, where she wants to be anyways, but unless she can really start getting ahead, especially, or if she falls behind even a little bit, it's going to be a very scary situation for UAEB, especially that how aggressive team tempos. Why am I blanking out? IQ is IQ is bringing to the table here, but I always want to ask you, my friend, who is taking the cake?
Temple Control. What? With this one, Babs is on his Echo. Daily Peach is on the Vi, and Cracked is back on that Gragas. We do have Ashkash taking the Blitz this game as well too. And yes, you look over at UAB and you think neutralization. Yes, you get to that 30-minute mark. That Vayne is going to be very strong. But unlike last game where we had 2 late game scalers for Temple Control, you only have 1 on the side of UAEB this time. And you have the advantage of comfort picks over on Temple Control. This is a dive-heavy game. We saw how aggressive Temple Control went as soon as they crossed that mark where they were like, yep, we're turned on right now, we're ready to go, let's hop and pull the trigger and do this. And you saw how successful they were in doing that, knowing that they're coming into this game with 4 dive champions and someone to set up picks for them. I mean, maybe we say 3.5. Ezreal's can maybe not the best one to say dive into this comp that UAE has right now, but this is honestly a lot of damage on the side of Tempo. We know Cracked was dealing a lot of damage, but you have Vi, Echo, Ezreal. Oh my god, that's a lot to be dealing with, especially before Mr. Cookie's able to scale up on that Vayne, knowing we might see a Duskblade Ezreal. So for that, all those reasons above, I checked the all of the above reasons box, and Tempo Control is on my list for this one. I'm switching sides this game.
What are you, Italy? Anyway, Mr. Jokes. Nevertheless, I do want to go back a little bit, and I do want to say this Vi is probably going to be starting red buff, and picking up her, I think blue smite here, because especially that UAEB might be wanting to run backwards a little bit just to make sure the Vi doesn't get too close to the Vayne. But nevertheless, I do believe that Vi has a really nice gank set up in both top and bot. In mid, if Echo has the availability to it at pre-6, at post-6, Vi has a free reign to go into any lane and just press that Assault Battery and just running it down onto the enemy lane or whoever it may be, especially how strong this pick is for Daily Peach. If he gets ahead, he can steamroll the game. But nevertheless, I'm just thinking about what the Lily is going to be doing. Maybe probably power farming and looking for counter ganks is in my head probably the best way to do it. Starting off blue when Vi starts red, maybe a really good ward onto the Raptor camp will be very useful to see if Daily Peach started her red buff or his red buff to either going to the Krugs into Raptors or just doing the 5-can setup. I don't know quite how well this Vi's clear is going to be, but this is just what I'm thinking in my head.
I have so much I want to talk with you about this jungle setup, but we'll save it for when we come back and actually get to see these players start to take off into the Rift. But guys, make sure to keep getting those predictions down. Let us know who you think is going to win game number 2, if IQ is going to take it in 2-0, or if UAB is taking us to that game 3. We'll see you back on the Rift in a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
I saw you smile from across the bar. Yeah, she was pretty and so close but so far. She flipped her hair and I thought this can't be true. How does a man like me get someone like you? And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies. Just like that, you're coming closer to me. Come shake me, grab me, so I wake up from this dream. I can't breathe, come at me. I don't know if I can speak. Then she said, come with me and let's be free. The night is young and I think this could go far. The sky is dark but you're my shooting star. Could see your face reflect upon the moon. It was a pretty summer night in June. And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies. Just like that, you're coming closer to me. Come shake me, grab me, so I wake up from this dream. I can't breathe, come at me. I don't know if I can speak. Then she said, come with me and let's be free.
All right. We are back and on the Rift again with our second game of the LTS Premade Week 7. IQ again on that red side, UAEB on the blue side, but we've kind of got the Assassino column over here. Well, I wouldn't say traditional assassins except the Echo, but this is a dive-heavy comp here. IQ's looking to go hella aggressive, and I'm very excited to see what they're going to be pulling off as we move through from the early game into the mid game, because that's kind of their big window there.
Gosh, I'm so disappointed. Where's the invade? You have a Blitzcrank, man.
Not this game. We're taking it safe, knowing that a Thresh could potentially be there, and a Galio taunt to follow up. That is a lot more than what IQ is able to respond with right now. I think the level 1, I think that's, you know what, showing a little bit of respect. Level 3's coming out, though. That's when they can start getting their dives off. They can start pulling off their combos to find these picks. So it's just showing the smidgest bit of respect right now, but we'll see what happens in lane, because after how Yoyi started off the lane with his Blitzcrank last time, I don't think Ashclash is just going to let that go.
Definitely not. I think he's out for a vengeance. He's like, you've been bullying me too long, and now it's my time to shine. But I do want to look a little bit at seeing they're going for the double blue smite, which means most likely Lilia is going to go. I'm just surprised how much damage he's taken already. I'm just looking at that. Usually Lilia's really are very healthy clears, but nevertheless, maybe it was just a very shabby leash from the laners there in the bot lane. But what lane are you most excited about?
I kind of want to keep my eyes on this bot lane because of that. Because you got double hook champions here, but Yoyi taking so much of that poke already. We see the early sweeper from Ashcash, and I really like this because you can see exactly what he's doing. We dominate the bush vision at this point, and this is really forcing UAE off of this minion wave. So really well played already in this early wave. Yeah, we're not seeing the flash knockups here like we did from Yoyi in that first one, but still enough to deny some CS in these early levels is going to be a little tough to deal with.
Definitely, especially you see that it's already 1-for-1 hook onto the Vi already, which is, 100% odds in my book, deal done case. But a hook does get back.
Oh, the hook, the flay, the ignite as well too. Ashcash is getting quite low, and now it's going to be UAE on the chase, but they can't quite make it through that minion wave there, a little blocked up. Ashcash taking the worst of that is some trading going on in this top lane right now. Cracked is going to be getting chopped down a little bit by Happy Y'all. But that's definitely that Camille, that extra Q, that built-in Cho'Gath damage. Just, yeah, ridiculous. That's nuts. To me, that is insane that she's able to pump out that kind of damage. But I mean, we got to see what happens here, because this Camille is half health. Vi is up here. Lilia is up here as well too. So they're just gonna actually be crossing paths here. So everyone sort of backs off, and we get to take a breath here for a moment.
Interesting, the Lilia 4 camp, which is very entertaining in my book, really offsetting her camps and when it's spawning. So maybe she'll have a follow-up, or there's going to be an early fight where she can fix these timings, but it's very awkward for the Lilia to really put herself onto the right foot.
Hook, though, Knight's Condemn, no follow-up going to be coming from that, but Yoyi and those hooks, but Ashcash with the response. The ignite comes down, the tumble away immediately, and the flay, maybe not the best of time, but in comes Vi, trying for the flash Q, trying to go on in, but drawn back into this turret. It's going to be Mr. Cookie again with first, no, it was Yoyi there first blood last time, but nonetheless, UAE with first blood once again. The Aftershock there to try and melt them down, Swirling Seat to try and also slow them down, but they're not going to be able to find those last two members. A little unfortunate for Daily Peach to get picked off there, but that is one of the repercussions of diving at Thresh, is that he can keep you under that tower for quite a long time.
Definitely, I'd want to say Yoyi has been on point with his hook so far. Absolutely astonishing of how he's able to really put himself in the driver's seat and really set him towards the W that he's been looking for. A fantastic hook into Flash Flay for the other two. Unfortunately, unable to pick up those kills, even how low it was. But being able to pick up that Daily Peach kill is absolutely phenomenal, and it helps Lilia, in my opinion, a lot.
Absolutely. That's gonna be nice. At least that Vayne is on Mr. Cookie this game. He played really well last game on that Caitlyn, but to have it on the Vayne, knowing that that 30-minute mark maybe gets knocked down to about 29 minutes now, because that extra little bit of that 400 gold, that first blood gold, is definitely going to be doing him a couple favors there in this early levels. But you got to keep an eye on this Vi. And I also wanted to talk to you about the smites, because last I remember is Daily Peach did take the challenging smite because he tended to play a little bit more aggressive. However, I'm curious to see what he ends up deciding here, as Ashcash in a bit of trouble, caught out warding, and 3 members of UAE here to clean him up. Mr. Cookie's going to go ahead and be gifted another kill here at 6 minutes, and now he's got a bounty on his head. So
1, 2, man, he's just not having a good time this game, as Yogi's not putting out all the stops, following up where the Blitzcrank's going, and making sure he's not going anywhere that is legal in his eyes. But nevertheless, the island top lane's always having a good time. The bot lane's getting their own what I'm looking for is experience, so they don't fall behind too much. And the more XP you get on this Vayne, the more she's going to be able to carry once it hits the 15-20 minute mark.
absolutely, absolutely. We need to see items on Vayne before they start kind of playing that hand, which is the Vayne is stepping up a little bit, starting to shred down a little bit more. But until then, it's usually Vayne sticking at the back, everybody just disengage, run away until we get to that point. But definitely not afraid to set up, knowing that Yoyi is been on point with every one of these hooks so far. Almost able to get those silver bolts out, but not quite enough. But gotta keep our eyes on this bot lane, because anybody steps out of position, anybody steps up, or one minion kind of switches its positioning there will be a hook, and there will be at least some sums being blown down in this bot lane.
And most definitely, and you can see the Clawfield hand is already onto the Ezreal at this point, which is simplifying that he's going to go for that ER Duskblade build, where Clawfield's hammer goes both into Essence River as well as Duskblade, which is, in my opinion, is a fantastic flex where he can really find which item really fits the lane.
Oh my goodness! True shot barrage, hook back and forth. Yeah, they're always looking for it. However, Lilia is down in this bot side. She does have level 5 still, so not quite at that 6 mark. Not going to be able to get the Drowsies down if she does go in here, but this could be a nice setup. Yoyi with the Lantern, they're looking for it right now, but the Ezreal ease on out, and that's the disengage that they're looking for. That's kind of the great thing about Ezreal, is that even if you hook him, he's got options.
Definitely, he can go anywhere with that arcane shift, and that's why Ezreal's always been known as a very safe champion, where he basically has an extra flash every 15 seconds.
Yeah, how great, how great! Imagine an extra flash in your kit.
Yeah. Can I 2 please? 2 please.
Can I take flashes twice?
Yes. Can I get another, please? Can I get another?
Please,
No. Looks like Daily Peach is going to go for this Rift Herald here, but immediately spot out where he just jumps back over the wall.
Yeah, there's some good vision here from UAE across the board here. Definitely keeping their eyes out. They need to be aware of where Blitzcrank is at all times so they don't get hooked. However, something possibly happening in the middle. That's going to be Babs getting jumped on here. Fauntleroy here with a big taunt. And of course, in comes the Chrono Shift. Going to try to keep him alive for now, and no hook on cooldown. Just out of range. And Echo will survive to tell his tale and live another day. But this Dragon is on the map. We haven't seen
love those reset.
The reset. Oh yeah, love the reset alts.
Yeah.
But ooh, see some big pings coming out in this mid lane. Here is XZ is going in, but Daily Peach does find a kill. The Drowsy's going down on the 2 members here. XZ swirling and twirling around, but is he going to be able to find that Echo? He is slowly getting burned down right now, but in comes Yoyi, but Daily Peach is there, gives him a big boop on the nose, and that's going to be the end of that Deer Centaur. As Daily Peach able to turn things around. Now 2-1-0 thoroughly back in this game now after that little mishap early on in the bot lane.
That was absolutely cool.
Oh, Director Cam, where are you doing? What are you doing? We gotta see these fights. We gotta see this action. Cracked is being a little cracked there in that top lane. He finds the solo on to Happy L, and we saw him on this Gragas last game. He's doing a great on it again.
Apparently, my Director Cam loves me and yours hates you because I was watching that action, and that's why I was being a little bit more on the quiet side. But nevertheless, I'll make sure to call it out if I do see it. But that Daily Peach on there, like you said, boop on the nose, hitting that minion for the collateral onto the backside, killing that Lily was absolutely phenomenal by him, utilizing the extra AoE, able to do whatever he wants. It looks like Lily is going to be starting up this Cloud Dragon.
Yep, and I mean, Vi is going to respond with the Herald on the other side of the map, so good idea of where each other might be at this point. Well, they will find out once the notifications kind of go through on this map, but nice to see at least an exchange here. Oh, that's going to be the hook from Yoyi.
Ooh.
The Flay and the box comes out, but that's going to be the flash. The hook does not land, but there's the knockup. Doesn't matter because Mr. Cookie now gets their third kill of the game. And while that was all happening, Dragon taken out by UAE. Rift Herald picked up there for IQ and starting to pick up. The pace is starting to pick up definitely a lot more for what we're seeing. And we might see once Ezreal finishes that Duskblade, a little something happening in that bot lane. A few more visits from these junglers, I think. But we do also see the Sheen and the Nimbus cloak, not the Nimbus cloak, the Cloak of Agility on the Ezreal. So this is making me think more of Triforce.
No. All these items go into Essence River.
Oh, dumb caster life. You know, what can I say? What can I say, guys? We learn. We're here to learn as well too. But yeah, that's definitely a little different than what we expected, but not bad. I mean, you can never say it's bad. However, Daily Peach in the top lane. Hi, how you doing? He comes flying out of the bushes, and there's no chance to stop him. Wow.
Like we always see, that lethality, he loves going into that bushes every which way on the map he can. He's a dirty bush abuser, you know him well. Nevertheless, the Essence Reaver is picked up by...
Mid lane though. Look at this. The parallel convergence comes down, and Ash Crash is in the middle of all this action. I don't think he wants to be right there. Drowsy actually coming down on the Echo. He's going to pop the Chrono Break, but he's still Drowsy. There's one. There's two. And UAE catches IQ out of position. However, the trade is that first turret of the game going on over to IQ. Wow.
And it looks like this game is following the standard procedure of Vi v Vayne right now. If the Vi is able to get on the Vayne, the game's going to be really difficult. Did that Thresh just take that from the Ezreal?
Wait, no. He, 0-5 too, so all the assists there. But look at the TP that came down bot. That's actually be Mr. Cookie dashing around. That one pulled back into the box is the Blitz, and he's taken out once again. Truth Shot Barrage ripping through, but take a look on the backside. Babs is here on the Echo. He's going to Proto Belt on out to get away from that Galio knockup. But all 5 members of UAE are chasing him. Parallel Convergence comes down to give him a little bit of extra shield, but he's taunted up and taken out. Mr. Cookie on a rampage now. UAE is going to go ahead and disengage off of this one. They'll take what they can get because there's no dragon up, but really well played by UAE there.
Definitely a very nice initiation, getting that instant TP onto the bot side to click up a quick kill. Even though it was a kill was traded back, it was inevitably 1 for 2, and another kill picked up onto the Vayne here. It's more and more scary as this day goes on. And I'm just excited to see what this next dragon is going to be, because most likely I think IQ is going to be, in my opinion, forced onto this next dragon here because of how their comp kind of lines up and how aggressive they're going to be going. I think they really need to start picking up these objectives.
Well, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the game, right? Almost shave off a minute for every kill that the Vayne has, and that's going to be where she kind of explodes in this game. So take it, if we're looking at it, we can kind of aim for that 26-minute mark, approximately. This is just a guesstimation here. I want to see if this theory is actually right. But that's where I'm kind of guessing this Vayne is going to start to come online, is a little bit earlier than what most teams are used to. So this has kind of been the advantage of feeding all those kills into Mr. Cookie, as this Vayne has already got a full item and a half here at 15 minutes.
Now, you may think a cookie is something that your grandmother makes you when you are chilling at your grandma's house, but this cookie is looking to bite back.
This Cookie definitely got a bite. I will say that. He's playing really well.
Okay, come on.
I know, it's terrible. I know,
Trying.
it's bad. It's bad. He's got a red buff, though, so he is going to be hurting quite a bit right now. The silver bolts are stacking up quite nicely. And paired with that red buff, it is going to be a lot harder for these members of IQ to kind of step up here. However, Babs is going to have to be careful because in goes Galio again. Going to be looking for that taunt. Parallel Convergence is coming down, but so is the Swirling Seed. Back into the Chrono Shift he goes, but he's put to sleep right there. There's the knockup. There's the damage, but the flash from Babs. The last little bit of that Galio damage is coming through. Corrupting Pots actually being chugged by both sides. However, Heroic Entrance is going to be interrupted here. Lilia's taken up and slammed to the ground there by Daily Peach. True Shot Barrage will not land onto the Vi, but the hook, the flay is there. Mr. Cookie goes on in, getting the shutdown onto this Vi, still chasing down the Blitzcrank. Ash Cash is going to be taken out. That's a double kill here for Mr. Cookie. My goodness. And that time keeps on shaving off. Every single one of those kills is going to be helping that Vi. 6-0-2 now, sitting on 1,700 golds for the next back. That is so good for UAE here.
Definitely, and the Vi was able to pick up the Lilia there very convincingly with including the Galio, but he was already...
This is risky. The Flay is not going to be able to connect, but the hook will. However, Cracked is not where you want to be right now. The Frost is going to come out, but the Condemn is there. However,
Ooh,
Mystic Shot will land. Very nicely done. Good prediction to find her in the bush there, but Happy Yell is down here as well too, with Babs going in with the Proto Belt there. The Flay to try and get him away, but those stacks are stacked on up. One more will do it, but the big taunt from the Galio is here, and Babs is going to be taken out once again. Happy Yell looking to trade on back. The True Shot Barrage coming through, but the Drowsy on Ezreal caught up in that Hextech ultimatum. He's got nowhere to go. Daily Peach is going to have to disengage along with Ashcash because they do not have the numbers to fight back right now.
You know what they say, if you take my 80 carry, I take your team. You're 1 for 3 onto the side. Over to UAEB, they're not taking any prisoners, and they're picking up the second dragon in the game. It's a little bit later than I expect to see the second dragon, especially to see how far behind, I would say, this Team Pump 4 IQ is right now, especially that you're expecting them to be absolutely monstrously ahead, especially that they're trying to look for that ER Duskblade on the Ezreal and the Lethality Vi, and it's just not looking very clean right now. I'm just trying to find a way they can maybe get back into the game, kill the Vayne a couple more times. Getting that shutdown on Lilia will always help, and maybe start pressuring these towers because they have a lot of burst damage, but I don't think they're really grouping up to a point they can really utilize it properly.
No, look at this. Fauntleroy maybe in a little bit deeper than he expected. Babs is a little low, but at least gets the shield there from Parallel Convergence. However, Ashcash and Wash Editor are here to help clean that one up. Swirling Seed is actually down in a Wash Editor right now, but Lilia will not opt for that ult. The team is just not here in this mid lane right now, as we see numbers from Tempo Control starting to make their way around here. But this is kind of what we said. Mid-game is where they're going to start to show a lot of what their comp has been drafted to do. And now that we're solid, firmly in that point in the game right now, we're going to start to see some stuff coming through from them as well too. Before Mr. Cookie gets to that unstoppable point, even though he's 6-1, it doesn't matter what the Vayne. Well, no, it does. It does. That's wrong to say. The Vayne is very strong, but it's still not at that late game point where she becomes the hyper carrier that she's known to be.
I do want to say Infernal Dragon again, perfect for IQ for this game, while it was perfect for UAEB last game. Exactly what they need, because they need that damage to really pump out so they can get rid of this Vayne altogether in these fights, so they can really start shining through the team fights. But nevertheless, I think this entire game is going to be rest onto this next dragon. What do you think?
It's definitely going to be a big one if UAE's... I mean, UAE, they took Soul last game. They had an Infernal Soul last game, but still were not able to beat Tempo Control. However, this time it's the Vayne with that Infernal Drake, potentially, if they're able to do that. So those Silver Bolts are going to be hurting quite a lot if they line up with, you know, the Kraken Slayer with the Infernal buff. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with if UAE get it. And I don't know what Tempo Control, what their answer is going to be. I mean, really, the answer is find the Vayne, pick her off, and kill her ASAP, because that does take away a lot of the damage here from Tempo Control. However, looking to start something up in the top lane. Taunt will land onto this Echo, and now there's numbers from UAE up here. Babs, you got nowhere to go. He's going to pop the Chrono Break in a second. I wouldn't doubt it if he's going to use that to try and stay alive. He uses the Chrono Shift to jump forward. Let's see. He's able... No, the Phase Dive. Phase Dive. What am I saying? Phase Dive to jump off forward. He's still running away, though. There's nowhere to go, but he's wasting so much time here for UAE. That Tempo Control is able to go and pick up that mid tower, open up the map a little bit for themselves, but Babs gonna have to try and get out. Hextech Ultimatum actually comes down onto the Blitzcrank, not the Ezreal. Gonna be canceled out quite quickly as the heroic entrance brings him on in, but Watch Editor is gonna be the one that gets picked off there. Daily Peach on the side, able to find Mr. Cookie, so this is gonna be a huge pick off here. We see the members of UAE backing off immediately. Parallel Convergence coming down as well too, but Daily Peach is gonna get shut down here. A big box there from Thresh. IQ Crack looking to go back in. A lot of low health bars as the cast comes down. That takes down Happy All. The flash away from Fauntleroy as well too. And that's exactly what they need. That's exactly who they need to be picking off there. You saw immediately the demeanor of UAE change when Mr. Cookie was taken off. My goodness. Great pick from Daily Peach.
I do want to say it was a fantastic pick off of the fight. The Vayne was onto the sideline. If I was able to really find where Vayne was heading towards the pick her off nice and early, but I'm very surprised to say that it was still a 2-for-2 trade. Even though there was a lot of low health bars, there was still Daily Peach and I believe Daily Peach and the Blitzcrank was taken out of the fight, as well as the Vayne and the Camille. So it was 2-for-2 for something that should have been, in my opinion, a 5-for-0.
Oh, Mr. Cookie in some trouble again. Is going to have to use the flash, knowing that is down for the next 5 minutes. Daily Peach has now officially ingrained that target on the Vayne's back. But 23 minutes now. Vayne is not that far away from looking for that late game. Babs is looking to try and go in, but not going to be able to quite get in range for the phase dive. Going to be dodging around that Swirling Seed, though. Yoyi on the chase right now as he dives on over the wall to safety. However, Infernal is on the map. Tempo Control starting up, and this is actually going to be their first dragon of the series, with the exception of the Elder Dragon. First Drake of the series, but on the other side of the map, Baron is getting started up. However, we got numbers page, as the Herald is actually going to get summoned too, so this is really bad for UAE. We got some low health bars here, incoming Tempo Control, and a Herald in the mid lane. That will be the Baron picked up here for UAE. However, you're in a terrible spot. Mr. Cookie is going to get hopped on immediately by Daily Peach, and he takes him out once again without all this damage. UAE are in some trouble, all clumped up here. They're able to find a couple members of Tempo Control, and they're actually able to turn it around. Happy All able to find one, but a triple kill here for the Lilia and the Ace as well. UAE turn this fight on its head. Even though they were in a bad position, they find the kills that they need, and they're not going to let Shelly push anymore in this mid lane.
See, the main issue in that point was they should have immediately collapsed onto UAEB there. And because they were allowed to get the Baron and get a little bit of wiggle room to go out before the actual initiation was invited, I do want to say, at this point, IQ is losing their steam. All their early game damage with the lethality, with the Duskblade, with the Duskblade onto the Ezreal, with the Essence Reaver, for that hyper early damage is just falling off at this point, and it really shows. They were able to cleanly pick off the Vayne, but it didn't matter with the Lilia getting a triple sleep into insta-killing the Ezreal and almost one-shotting the Blitzcrank with it. And it was an absolutely stellar fight either way for UAEB.
Yep, and UAE currently up 4k gold. Yes, they're down a turret, but that gold is mostly on the Vayne at this point, so that's exactly what you want to see. We have the Kraken Slayer, we got the Phantom Dancer, we are one item away from that Vayne being late game scale, but caught out in the bot lane. Fauntleroy is going to go golden. Is he going to get picked off? Daily Peach kind of leaves because he's like, you know what, Cracked, you got this, buddy. Go ahead and clean it up. Cracked is able to clean that kill up onto the Galio, and TP's back mid because I think we might see this defense of the mid tower, but if they're able to find a pick here with that Blitzcrank, I'm sure they won't say no to that. But this is still anyone's game at this point, even though UAE is ahead.
Yes.
We saw this last game where UAE was ahead solidly until that 30-minute mark, where Tempo Control just kind of flipped things around on them. So it's not done yet. And yes, the Ezreal did go the Duskblade, so he isn't going to be the super late game. I mean, he's still pretty nasty in the late game. That's not to take away from that, but the Vayne is going to be extremely strong once we see that third item finished out, which possibly looking for a GA at some point, seeing that stopwatch in the inventory as well. But I think that's a good call, knowing that Daily Peach has just got his number.
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with you. Because once you see that Vi ultimate coming down onto the Vayne, instant stopwatch it, it's going to be nice and quick and clean for the Vayne, so the Thresh can potentially get him out. But it looks like the Ezreal could have been cut out there.
He's good for now. He's good for now. A little bit of a close one, but luckily 2 flashes, right? Am I right? But we do have a dragon up in a minute 15. I'd like to see some of these members of UAE just kind of solidly control this end of the jungle since they have that prio in the mid lane. But Daily Peach is kind of sneaking in here, and maybe some more numbers should be down here, knowing that soul point is very, very important here at this point. But let's see. Camille is getting the reset. The TP is available from both her and the Galio, and Babs has it as well. So a lot of numbers can be here at this fight very, very quickly. But Ashcash right now going to be taking that opportunity to get some vision up, because and then again, I don't know why UAE didn't rotate there to maybe they had the numbers. They could have just gone and get complete control of vision, but I guess that's what they're doing right now.
True. It's a little bit late onto the clock where IQ is able to respond. Echo does have the TP, which is very very good. It looks like Camille's going to be pressuring him a little bit while the fight might be starting on the way. The Camille definitely wins that trade. As IQ is looking for this Infernal Dragon. If they can get the Infernal Dragon with minimal losses, it's going to be a huge win going over for IQ. And I'm excited to see what this fight's going to be entailing.
We're switching back between the vision here because there's only one member that can each be seen. Ashcash is actually going to roll it on back as Babs is actually on the backside of this fight. He's going to be looking for a pick off on the side. However, Watch Editor getting really low. He's going to get caught up by the hook, but the shutdown from Daily Peach on to the Lilia. Doesn't matter because Mr. Cookie is going to take out his enemy ADC. Double kill here for Peach on the side as we got multiple fights, one over the wall, but in comes Daily Peach once again. Mr. Cookie has been taken out. It's a 4-for-1 so far for the side of Tempo Control. Said this game wasn't done yet. Babs going in with the phase dive. And that is going to be the ace for Tempo Control. My goodness. Gold lead has been just cut down to 1 single K. 1,000 gold. And Dragon's now tied up, but it's double Infernals for the side of Tempo Control. And that, to me, is scary.
What an insane comeback from Tempo Control here, and absolutely phenomenal play of Micro and Micro skills and being able to pick off the correct targets, and a little bit, or I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot of team play there, getting the Dragon, getting Cookie off the map, making sure the Lilia isn't having a good time. Were they able to pick up the Infernal Dragon and getting the 4-for-0 is it's a pretty good trade, honestly.
Really, really good at, especially at this point in time where We're 30 minutes in. Builds are starting to get finalized. You know, Daily Peach is 9-4-2 on this Vi. He is absolutely shredding right now. And pair that up with his Electrocute, he is able to take down squishy targets very quickly. So that is why Mr. Cookie has been the target here. You know, we saw he was 6-0, but he has been the target of repeated dives at this point. Now 7-4. So Daily Peach doing very well to make sure that Mr. Cookie gets is no longer involved in these fights, because that's kind of what takes over. Even if an Ezreal's taken out like we saw in that last fight, they can still clean it up with all the other damage that they have in their comp at this point.
Most definitely. It looks like Blitzcrank is having a little bit of hook battle between.
Well, both of them are going to miss their hooks, but Ashcash is in some trouble. He's going to play back, but in goes Yoyi. No, we see Ezreal's going to have to dive on back with his ult, and unfortunately, it will be Yoyi that wins the hook battle there, as that Gragas is caught out as well too. Has to go golden, but Wash Editor is the one that isn't golden. They jump on him immediately, and Cracked is going to get taken out as well too. This is going to be a Baron. That's actually really, really bad for Tempo Control there. Losing those members, getting split up in the jungle. Very unfortunate for them, but it's not done yet. Babs is on the back side of this, but he's going to get spotted out by some wards. Looking to maybe go in and seal, but look at Yoyi right now. Doing so much to keep him off of this one. Not going to be able to even make an attempt of a Baron steal here. Will get picked up. Oh no, he's super dead. Look at all the numbers here. He takes the Parallel Convergence back around, but he is so dead. Goes on golden. He might get another phase dive out of this, but the taunt will surround him. He's got nowhere to go, and Baron buff on to UAE.
I do want to say he wasted, again, a lot of time. This time he does fall to the hands of UAEB, but it doesn't matter. As
no.
the hook goes
Lilia might be super dead, but Happy Hour coming over the wall with the Hexal Ultimatum, and UAE doing so good to follow up on these fights, but that's going to be a big cask as well, too, as we're zooming in, we're zooming out, and Happy Hour gets really low. Daily Peach with another double kill. We still got fights going on in the mid lane, or in the base, sorry, as Wash Editor gets the Mystic Shot along with the barrel. It ends up being, my goodness, a 4-for-3 in favor of Tempo Control, but an absolute bloodbath.
An absolute bloodbath? Nice.
Bloodbath.
Wow, bloodbath. Bloodbath. Man, that's my tongue twister of the day. Indeed, as there was an absolute massive fight when Blitzcrank got that astonishingly good Lily hook on XZ4 there, and forcing the entire way of UAEB to step forward there to get a good angle for Daily Peach to really get in and find that vein almost immediately, picking up 2 for his team before dying off from the Galio Cube. But I'm definitely excited, as like we said, Infernal Dragons are king, and the more Infernal Dragons IQ can get, the happier they are. And if they get all 4, it's going to be an absolute monster of a bloodbath here. Let's see how these teams set this up.
Absolutely. UAE also sitting 4K up, so their builds are through now. We see the GA onto the vein. Oh, a beautiful pull onto Yoyi. Nowhere to go. The Parallel Convergence comes down to lock him in. However, Heroic Entrance, he's going to flay Ashcash back into this one. And now all of a sudden, we've got a fight breaking out around this dragon. True Shot Barrage is going to come ripping through. Not going to land on anybody. Crack goes golden once again. And I think they're just going to have to leave him for dead and get on out of here, because this is not the place you want to be. Oh my goodness, the Drowsy's coming on down. The Blast going to take him out, but it's a double kill here for XZ4. Able to find a couple. Mr. Cookie able to find that third. 3-for-0, and this is going to be so point here for UAE.
It was a fantastic pick until you realized the Thresh was a little bit more tanky than they thought, where he was able to survive a tremendous amount of bursts, enough where the Galio can get in, and the rest of the team for UAEB was able to start walking forward. And honestly, at this point, this may be game.
It could be. Mr. Cookies does have the Guardian Angel, but over the wall goes Daily Peach looking for the ult, up and down, but there's just too much CC around. Daily Peach with the GA as well. Going to survive for a little bit longer, but not that much, because 4 members of UAE is more than 1 member of Tempo Control. Babs is going to get chased away, and UAE are going to siege onto the base of Tempo Control. Might back off right here. Blitzcrank is floating around. Double hook on a hook as a heroic entrance is coming on through. Mr. Cookie on a rampage now, able to take out Ash Cash. And they're just going to disengage from here. They'll take what they can get and not overplay their hand.
Most definitely, as they are able to get both inhibitors down to make sure it's going to have a rough time for IQ to be able to keep their base together. Or was it two? Sorry, I'm so sorry. It was the inhibitor tower, excuse me. But nevertheless, I do want to specify here is this Vayne has 4 items, getting into 4 or 5 items technically if you count boots, but her 4-item power spike where she's an absolute monster. As you can see for the full burst of Daily Peach there, Vayne was able to survive the entire thing and kill her on the side, which is absolutely phenomenal, or a great sign for UAE to be winning this game. But it doesn't mean it's not over. As you know, or as you can see, there is a GA onto the Vayne, but even if this is the case, if Blitzcrank can get a nice hook onto the Vayne, really get in between the teammates and find that Vayne, I think this is still a winnable game for IQ.
It's definitely not going to be the easiest, though. Having to kill the Vayne twice before all the other CC and follow-up from UAE comes through, it's almost mission impossible. It might be a one-way ticket for Daily Peach, but if his team can clean up the rest around that Vayne, I think they're definitely in business for looking to go crack open the base of UAE after this. But again, has to be very controlled, has to be, at their pace and not at UAE's pace.
Most definitely, Vi has to get a really nice angle on attack onto the Vayne, maybe looking for a gnarly flank, but this Baron is getting set up here and getting ready to go, as this is the main objective of the night. I'm very interested to see how this Blitzcrank is going to be looking. Yogi lands a hook, though.
Oh, careful. He's not going to take that one. Not too sure who's lurking over that wall. Does have a little bit of vision back there, but it was just cleared out. So plays it safe, doesn't overplay his hand, and does not take the Thresh Express there to what could have been a death there. So again, everybody kind of playing safe until someone steps out of position. Exactly what we're going to keep our eyes out for. Lilia also with the Banshee's Veil to again hinder that Blitzcrank from looking for the hooks. Learned from that lesson earlier around the base of Tempo Control. So definitely a smart pickup here for them. A little bit more survivability, which is exactly what they want. They want to draw out these fights. And once all that dive cooldown is up for Tempo Control, I mean, that's where they can really start to turn things around. Just as long as Mr. Cookie survives in these fights. That's the main key here.
Definitely, this is going to be a Mr. Cookie show onto the side if they're absolutely eviscerating Baron, which is most definitely can be a 10-minute
It's shredding down. Fauntleroy is able to get on out, but in they go. It is going to be secured by UAE. Daily Peach is just picked off, and this is going to be the rest of UAE following over the wall, jumping on to these members of Tempo Control. This is going to be an absolute sweep here. Babs trying to get on out, but you have got nowhere to go. Heroic entrance coming on in. He's able to use his Protobelt to survive for a little while longer. Chrono break to get on back, but Gregus was left by himself. Just one member of Tempo Control left. He is not going to be able to stop this one, and this is going to be game for UAE. We're going to game 3, Paige.
Whoa. I'm so excited for this game 3, and all honesty, this is a fantastic game series so far. Maybe a little bit too aggressive for Tempo Control should be looking for, as they were unable to make those game-winning plays and decisions to really accelerate themselves within the game, as well as allowing the Vayne to get so far ahead so early.
And that is what we like to see, in opposed to usual fashion that we got an actual game 3. Usually we just see the 2-0, but we see the game 3 coming through for us as well too, as I just had something else come through for me as well too. But let's flip it on over to our post-game lobby here to take a look at some of the stats from these two teams here, as UAE, what a great showing from them.
What an absolutely killer showing as you can see, the Galio was actually keeping up with the damage. If you look at the damage charts real quick, it was a pretty close collaboration where I thought the Vayne would have had an astronomical lead in that damage chart, but nevertheless a great showing overall with UAEB. And not to say this game, that game was a little bit of a stomp, but I'm gonna say is this series is absolutely impeccable. As IQ takes game 1, UAEB takes game 2, and I'm excited to see game 3.
Me too. And right now we've got our player of the game poll currently on right now, so make sure to let us know who you think deserves that player of the game from UAEB. We are also going to announce our raffle winner after we come back to the desk here after our break, so make sure to stick around for that. And because we're going to game 3, we might as well make another raffle, so we'll have a third one for our final game of the night. So guys, make sure to stick around for our winners there and to enter in the next one. But player of the game poll on live right now. We will see you back here in 5 minutes for game number 3. Don't go anywhere because this is a spicy
I can show you what love's supposed to be. I can show you what love's supposed to feel like. I can show you, yeah. I can show you, you're the light inside of me every night. My chasing dreams ain't got time to make them see what we believe, you and me, yeah. You're the light inside of me every night. My chasing dreams ain't got time to make them see what we believe, you and me, yeah. You're the light inside of me every night. My chasing dreams ain't got time to make them see what we believe, you and me, yeah. You're the light inside of me every night. My chasing dreams ain't got time to make them see what we believe, you and me, yeah.
Burn 'em, burn 'em. How much money I be making, I'ma burn 'em. Burn 'em, I'ma murk 'em. And if they playing with this fire, I'ma burn 'em. Murder. It's a murder. Disrespect if I'ma spark it, I'ma burn 'em. And I'll be searching, I'll be lurking, I'ma hurt 'em. And all these bridges that I'm building, I'ma burn 'em. Burn 'em, burn 'em. How much money I be making, I'ma burn 'em. Burn 'em. Smoke it up. Burn 'em. Whop a nigga's bucket, I'ma serve 'em. Spinning on a block with a mop, I disturb 'em. I never killed a nigga, but I'm ready to spit a hollow right on a person. And the curse. I'm about to merge on a nigga's turf. I'ma let a nigga burn, burn, let him burn. And these pussies better learn. When I pull up, I'ma burst. Make a nigga see stars finna leave him on a curb. Burn him, burn him. All the money I be making, I'ma burn him. Burn him.
Alrighty, welcome back, guys, to week 7 of the LTS Premade. We've got our second player of the night, this time from UAEB. Gonna be Yoyi on that thresh going 2, 32. Holy crap, that's a lot of assists, and that's showing you how involved this thresh was for making those plays, getting those flays, and my goodness, making sure the win stays. But we're going to game 3 right now, and this is going to be very, very exciting here. Comes down to that last game, and we are going to see who wins it all here in this final game of the night. Paige, what do you think of before we hop into this draft?
I mean, Yogi has been absolutely on fire with his hooks today. As you can see, even from game 1, but also game 2, that he's been landing the majority of the hooks that he's been throwing out, picking off some key targets for UAEB. But I am super excited, nevertheless, for both sides of the teams to really pop off and really show what they're made of for this game 3. I'm trying to think if there's any bans that they would be looking for this game 2. Is there anything that really comes to mind in your eyes?
We can definitely theory craft in a second once we hop on over to the draft, but we got to announce our raffle winner real quick, super quick, so we can hop into this. So, without any further ado, let's close these entries and pick a winner. Who's getting it this time? Matthew Bobo going to be our winner for our second raffle of the night. There's going to be another one opening up in just a few seconds, so Matthew will get those points on over to you in no time at all. But Matthew, congratulations. But same page, back to our theory crafting here of what is going to be seen as we pass Matthew those points and start another raffle, our last one of the night, by the way. What will we see? That is a fantastic question. Of course, what we can try and think of is the fact that Blitzcrank has been in both these games. There's a chance that we might see him just banned out because both these players, these supports, are very good with them. But we do have a side change. So as we flip on over to the draft, you'll see tempo control on the blue side. UAEB with that side selection has gone for the red in game number 3. So I'm wondering if that counter pick advantage that you get for being on the red side is going to come through. But we might see a little bit of a shake up to the draft with that side change up here.
Quite so. I think IQ is really looking for that first ban, or so that first pick of maybe even for the jungler, or really, or a pick they feel like they really would enjoy or really would like, that UAEB has been threatening. I'm quite interested to see if they leave up the Vayne, which it looks like is going to be so. They do recognize the Galio was a little bit of a problem last game, so they do ban it off of UAEB's mid laner, as he performed absolutely exceptionally on. But nevertheless, I'm super excited to see this first pick and seeing how they kind of utilize it.
Yeah, and it was just, Yoyi has been such a pivotal part of this squad. Like 32 assists. Yeah, it was a long game, but still, that is pretty insane to be having that much involvement in these games. So, looking forward to maybe another support that can really set up these picks or set up these plays for his team. He's been excellent at doing that the entire night. So, let's see what's gonna make it through. Little leg over there on the western coast, I suppose, but.
maybe it's the UAE syndrome. I don't know. They are looking to see what they're trying to ban out here. Hopefully, it's just pentaQ lag, but nevertheless, I'm trying to think of what the last ban would be. It looks like it's going to be Samara.
That has been banned every single game by them so far. So, but actually, wait a minute. Last minute change out. It's an Echo. We're gonna take that away from Babs. Yes, he was pretty good on it last game, but unfortunately, Tempo Control were not able to fully get rid of that Vayne in the late game. But it is on the board again, and we're gonna see which one of these teams want it more.
Definitely, I'm seeing. I mean, proper B1s would be something like Samara, Karma, something that's easily flexible and has a lot of utility in every lane that every way imaginable. But it looks like they are locking in the Rakan.
All right, so IQ had this banned against them first game, but I believe this is one of Ashkash's specialties. Comfort pick for them, potentially even looking to set up the Xayah Rakan, which could be... It just enables Rakan to get to these fights that much faster and be that much more important, but it doesn't, even if it doesn't end up being a Xayah ADC, he's still very powerful for setting up his teams, which is exactly what these two supports have been very good at the entire night. So let's see what UAEB is going to respond to this one.
I mean, there's a couple things that Rakan has to struggle against, and funny enough, Alistar is actually pretty decent to Rakan, because if he goes for that thing, Rel is another one where she can either go for the counter knockup or she can go for the stun, which just cancels the W altogether if she's fast enough at it. You can also go for something very aggressive here if UAEB wants to. They can go and pick up something like a Kaisa if they really wanted to. Senna is really good with Rel. Vayne is fine with Rel, because Rel initially is much better as a disengage than an engage, because when she's in, she's never out. But nevertheless, she has such strong CC chains. But it looks like they are going red, baby, all the way, as the Tristana looks like it's going to be locked in here.
And there is the potential for that Trist to be flexed into the mid lane. I have seen it a couple times so far. This split can be very, very strong, but I think that'll depend what IQ end up picking up here for their mid. And this is really great too, because that counter pick is going to come through massive for, flexing these champions that could end up ADC, could end up mid lane. But Tristana Rel together is a very powerful lane. You have the CC from the Rel to kind of stop that Rakan getting there. You have the jump away and their Tristana ult, which again, also great disengage tools, but really good engage tools as well too. So it really depends how it's going to be looking. However, we're going to see the couple coming through potentially here for IQ as Xayah is being hovered. And get her locked in right now. There it is, Xayah Rakan. We get to see the duo coming together.
Definitely Xayah Rakan, which a lot of people, I presume, know that Xayah and Rakan's level 1 is probably one of the best in the game. Due to the fact of the extra damage coming in from Xayah's W, with the gnarly knockup coming from Rakan W as well. But I'm super excited to see if they're going to be able to utilize that level 1, or if they're going to play a little bit more safe and laid back and allow them to just scale up a little bit more, even though Tristana does get that scaling range in, where she gets about Caitlyn range or a little bit above Caitlyn range with her passive, but nevertheless they are coming back with the lethality Vi here. Interesting.
I like it. I mean, Daily Peach was able to find a lot of picks last time, but in this game it might be a little bit more challenging, considering that Tristana is there and can boop you away once again, but could be Tristana mid, there is still the option for them to pick up a Vayne if they so chose. But I'm not too sure what is going to come through. I think the safest thing for them would be to lock in a jungler here, right? That's exactly what IQ is showing as well too. Everybody's kind of on even playing fields if they are to just go for a jungle here. Udyr was banned out. Hecarim's up, but so Skarner. I suppose that is strong. Holy crap. Yeah, let's do it. Skarner for UAEB.
Skarner is a very strong pick right now, and just due to the fact of being able to clear proficiently and to survive off of clear very fast while being able to survive off of such low money, especially with the 11.4 nerfs from the jungle, where Skarner is comparatively buffed just indirectly, just of how his play style is intended, and forcing some QSS purchases, the 1300 gold tax, coming out from something maybe like a Zai if she absolutely needs to, or even the Vi, because the Vi is going full lethality.
Yeah, and I mean the Impale, it's just so damn good. I was talking about this on Tuesday while casting that. I mean, it's every time that flashes up. Every 5 minutes, you know he's going to be looking for it. You have to pay the tax. As unfortunate as it is to your build, if you don't, you're going to get steamrolled by this Skarner once he hits his 6. So, I mean, this is something that really needs to be done here in terms of respect for, you know, the damage that can follow up already from that Tristana is scary enough. We haven't even seen the top and mid picks here for UAE, but Anivia and Fizz are going to be gone, as well as the Gragas taken away from Cracked and the Malphite as well. So targeting up towards that top lane is what UAE are trying to go for right now.
I presume this is going to be a top laner here because, if like you said, Tristana is a flex pick, so allowing the flex pick to still be there and keeping IQ guessing is going to be in this case the best possible way. So picking either a nice safe top laner or something that they really feel like is really okay, but they do feature the Gnar.
I'm down with the Gnar. It's great disengage for when a Rakan or Vi tries to jump on you, if you're in your mega form, obviously. But it can also be fantastic for really pinning these champions down. Following up on the Rel CC as well too is so important that UAEB have that in their kit. So that Gnar really fits in well to pair with that Rel when they start looking for these team fights. Rel goes in, hits the, I want to say it's the Magnet Storm. Is her all called? It's some variation of that at least.
Yes.
But the Gnar following up and getting the thwomp down, or, you know, throwing a bunch of members into a wall is going to be so great to allow Tristana to just fire from the back line and get a ton of damage off. They just need to make sure that Daily Peach is involved in that cluster, because you know what happens if an ADC thinks they're safe and they're fighting from the back line. Well, the Vi does the Omayo from behind you. It just kind of shows up there. Which is true. He did that to Mr. Cookie a couple times last game, but wow. A lot of AP, but it's very good knowing that the Vi is damaged. The Ryze, the Seraphine pickup here at, I believe, Ryze top, Seraphine mid.
It could be the opposite as well. You cannot say it can't be the opposite, but most likely, from most people's perspective, this is going to be a Seraphine mid. Quite exciting because of just how Seraphine just interacts as a champion, especially that Tristana, if this is a mid lane Tristana, actually goes ahead into the Seraphine. Seraphine just is going to have a good time. She has all the range all the range in the world to really poke at the Tristana, and as long as she isn't too far pushed up where the Skarner can just zoom right into her lane and be able to lock her down for the Tristana, I would think Seraphine's going to have a good time.
Absolutely, and this Jinx has been banned out all series so far. It will eventually sneak its way through here, which tells me Mr. Cookie has been maybe hiding something from us on this Jinx, and I'm very excited to see it. But that does confirm that it's going to be Tristana mid, so we get to see that into the Seraphine, and I honestly think that's really good considering the fact that Tristana is going to be pumping out way more damage in these early levels than a Seraphine, can maybe even look for a level 2 dive. I have seen multiple times Shoshana's finding those 1v1s in these early levels as soon as the bomb comes through, as soon as the jump comes through. I mean, especially on level 3, it is a risk. So I would assume we're probably going to see some hard shoving here from Tristana, which means Daily Peach might find a window if that is what Fauntleroy is looking to set up here for Trist.
And you know what? I think so too. I think that if the Gnar is able to get out of the lane scot-free, Gnar's just going to have a fantastic time, especially if it's going to be something like a farm matchup like Ryze versus Gnar is going to be, or to entail. Gnar's biggest weakness in most games is his laning phase and how easy he is to be punished as mini Gnar. But nonetheless, the case, putting a Ryze up top lane here and making it a true farm lane, unless, you know, Daily Peach can find those really nice angles and really pick up the catch the Gnar out of surprise if he's like pushing in for a back or from something like that. It's going to be a very entertaining game nevertheless. But I do want to say this bot lane is going to be very interesting. I presume this role is going to be a lot more defensive and fighting against the Rakan instead of fighting against the Xayah, because Jinx doesn't have a lot of mobility and it's not able to really put as much pressure as he wants, especially if there's a Rakan in her face. And like you said, maybe there is a way to get those level 2 dives and maybe some solo bolos into the Tristana onto the Seraphine. But if Seraphine plays safe and is able to really utilize her range with her base drop as well as her Qs, it's going to be a very, I guess you'd say, neutral lane.
Yep. Hopefully, I mean, that would be ideal for Babs here, is to be online neutral lane, but it is Seraphine, so she is just super cracked right now. But, you know, looking at this game, that Jinx was banned out in games 1 and 2 is allowed here. So, to me, that shows that this is a special for Mr. Cookie. He's been playing really well tonight, but on a Jinx and on a player that is comfortable with Jinx, those when you get excited, I guess if you want to call it that too, it can really help you line up for these fights. Which, I mean, knowing there's a Tristana in this mix as well too, means there's a lot of damage that can come out of UAEB very fast. But they have to be careful of course, all that CC. However, you know, looking at this, Rel's going to have some disengage options. She's able to get out of her W when she's mounted, and it does give her a little bit of shield too. So yeah, even if the Rakan does jump on and they look for some trades and get some CC down to her, at least she's able to be out to get out, and that last little bit of damage coming in will get blocked up by that shield. But to flip it over to the other side, what I'm really excited about is Ryze and Rakan ultimates paired up together. If they're able to line up something like this, get a Rakan behind the enemy team and get a 5-man charm off, that is going to be so huge for them setting up these fights. Follow up with a big Feather Storm. Of course, the Seraphine ult is great for locking down these members as well too. A lot of CC options on the side of IQ. A lot of damage as well, but I mean, that Skarner is sticking out to me, Paige. Something about it.
Definitely, there's going to be a very hectic battle for control over to the jungle side, as Daily Peach is always very comfortable on his Vi and not afraid to show the power of the one shot with full lethality. But you also saw what's the after effects of going for something like a full lethality Vi, where she just gets blown up if she isn't able to kill or assassinate the target that she wants. If Vi is able to really get in there and get a couple really good kills, and being able to really set her foot or put her foot into the door, into a position where she can really just terrorize the game, Daily Peach has no problem doing that. No less the Skarner, I think as well, just like last game, Skarner is going to be looking for those counter ganks. Thank you, Brain. Going for those counter ganks, or even just mashing the Vi to make sure the Vi isn't just taking the game away, no matter where she wants to go. Especially that IQ is still being more of the aggressor here, as they're as something like a Seraphine we want. Like you said, massive ultimates, massive charms for coming from Rakan, coming from Encore, from Seraphine. It's going to be a very scary thought.
Well,
I meant for the other way.
Yes, I'm excited to see this though. But yeah, coming back to that point that I was talking about for the mid lane there. Looking across these lanes of UAE, a lot of the advantages are over on IQ in these early levels. We're not going to see a lot of Jinx damage coming out in these early games, and the Rakan definitely has. I would say, looking at these two, even if you're throwing down CC from both the Rel and the Rakan, it's going to be the Xayah that's able to follow up too with that Featherstorm, or even just pulling the feathers out after her autos is enough to do a lot of damage and CC you. So I would say this early game is probably going to be played a lot more safe by UAE, with the exception of that mid lane. So I think Daily Peach needs to be hovering around the mid lane, waiting for Tristana to push past half, because that is going to be the indicator to kind of jump on him. But of course, the little Goomba jump away is a great little tool in the arsenal of Tristana, and needs to save that. But like we talked about, Tristana might look for that early level 2 engage, jumps on in, and all of a sudden Daily Peach is behind you and you have nowhere to go.
Most definitely. And you know what I'm going to say, like I always like to say, who do you think has the advantage?
I would like to look at this. Paige. I'm gonna give it to UAE. You know what? I'm going to give it to UAE. They've got some good team fight. They've got a lot of good lockdown with the Rel and Gnar combo. And of course, getting to that point where they're able to team fight so strong, getting Jinx and Tristana to the late game, hyperscaling monsters that they can be, with the Impale to help them out along the way, is going to be a huge clutch to UAE. So I'm in their court. I'm back on UAE side this time.
You know what? And I'm going to flip over to the other side of the court now. I'm going to go for tempo. I'm going to go for IQ here. I really think they can pull together like they did in game 1, and I'm very excited to see what they can do.
Me too. Don't forget to get those predictions in. There's also that raffle going on that we're going to announce at the end of this game when we come back to the desk. But guys, we'll see you back here on the Rift for game number 3, the deciding match of IQ versus UAE. Let's see if UAE can get the upset or if IQ's coming in with the win.
I saw you smile from across the bar. Yeah, she was pretty and so close but so far. She flipped her hair and I thought this can't be true. How does a man like me get someone like you? And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies. Just like that, you're coming closer to me. Come shake me, grab me, so I wake up from this dream. I can't breathe, come at me. I don't know if I can speak. Then she said, come with me and let's be free.
Hello, welcome back to our final game of this series, the best of 3, so we can only have one more. There has to be a winner at the end of this one, but UAEB now on the red side this game, tempo control on the blue. We got a side swap there, but it's funny. We went from 1 hook champion in game 1 to 2 hook champions in game 2 to no hook champions in game 3. But it'll be interesting to see how these supports play on a little bit of a switched up style here. Probably a little bit more defensive, I would think, here in the level 1. However, a little bit of poke Babs is able to find there onto that Tristana very early.
Most definitely, and I'm excited to see, like you said, maybe some really interesting or aggressive plays in the mid lane. Bot lane's gonna be an interesting dynamic, especially that the Xayah clan has a very distinct early advantage at level 1, and it kind of mitigates level 2 when Jinx and Rill can actually start, fighting back a little bit more aggressively as everybody's getting those lovely spires. It looks like Skarner is going to be starting the red side, matching Vi here, as he is going to be starting blue, which is actually quite interesting. But I think that is probably the correct play, because he wants to make sure the Seraphine and the Zaya and the Rakan have a good time.
Yeah, if they get jumped on, straight up, not going to have a good shot. But no, you're totally right. He needs to be there and be aware of how early Vi could hit up one of these lanes. There are squishy champions across the board. The Gnar is not going to be as scary as he can be until we start seeing his 6 come through. We start seeing those levels come through on the Mega. But he's still pretty manageable in these early levels. But you still have to consider, that Ryze is also a later scaling champion. Is going to be coming online later. So we might not see a lot of attention put on this top lane here, but I would say Dragons have definitely played a big part in how these games have gone tonight. So definitely have to keep an eye out for who's making those rotations over here. First is Daily Peach making his way through the jungle right now, finishing off that wolf. And you can see how far, look at Fauntleroy, how far he's pushed up. But that's why this ward right here is beautiful, because he's going to catch Daily Peach on his Raptors right now and can at least know when to play a little safe depending on which way Daily Peach goes from here.
Most definitely, and I do want to say that back to the level 1 a little bit with Jinx and Rel, that Jinx and Rel were completely giving absolutely giving the most amount of respect you can give possible, just because they know how strong that level 1 is. And both junglers are now getting to their red crumbs as well as blue gromp here. I wonder if they're going to have a nice 3v3 in the bot lane.
I would assume this is probably what the setup is looking towards, is that these junglers head on towards this bot side here, try to get something set up. However, a lot of back and forth so far. This wave's kind of stuck in the middle of the lane right now. I'm looking to actually push forward a little bit here on the side of UAE, but another rotation up towards this dragon. They're going to start taking some of those what are they? Spires? No. Totems?
Spires.
No. Spires. Yeah, I had it right the first time. We're fine. But yes, always a nice little thing to do for your jungler, for your Skarner when that pops up. But Ashcash sitting over the wall. Might be looking for something, but actually early TP they're going to be coming through for this Ryze. Crack just wants to get back as soon as he has that tier to start stacking it up.
Most definitely, and it looks like the Skarner is looking for a nice and cheeky invade to see what the Vi's been up to, but the Vi's looking for the Tristana here.
Oh, there's cheekiness everywhere as Tristana goes in for the jump, but Daily Peach not going to be able to land that Q. Taking a lot of damage on back, but Fauntleroy luckily able to stay out of that one. Able to survive that gank for now, as lane's starting to push in the spot lane for the side of UAE. Knowing that Vi was mid, yeah, they can play a little bit more aggressively, look for this extra bit of CS. And all that little harass that's coming down, but again, not a lot of big damage on the board yet from either side, so we'll have to wait for that. We'll have to be patient for that.
Most definitely, and there's a slow creep advantage going into the side of IQ right now. It's not anything to be too impressed about, but it's enough to start growing a little bit of a gap here, which is completely understandable, especially in the boss perspective, just because how aggressive Zyricon can be. But nevertheless, it looks like Daily Peach is going for the full clear back to the bot side here. Maybe they can push this in fast enough where Daily Peach can actually look for a gank or even a lane gank here. Nevertheless, it looks like also that the Vi has first rotation to the Dragon if they really do want to set this up. The Seraphine will be there in about 30 seconds, but the Tristana will have first move.
Yes, gonna have to definitely watch that. There's not a lot of vision around this Dragon right now as it is, so this could be risky for either or to really get in there. The Scuttle will be up soon, so I mean securing that is definitely a nice little added advantage as we see some pings coming out around this Dragon. Definitely seems to be the objective of Daily Peach after he's at his Krugs there, but this is why we see Tristana rotating into the jungle. Fauntleroy is looking for the scuttles, but it's not quite up yet. Going to be up in a few moments here, but see Daily Peach just kind of waiting behind. But since that wave is pushed up, best thing he can do right now is just recall and maybe look to do his clear again towards this Drake. Actually, he's got nothing up, so his only thing right now would be just heading towards that dragon, but let's see if he decides to maybe sneak his way top at this point, because Cracked is actually doing some good poke damage onto the Gnar from this rise, especially the fact that he only has a tier and no stacks on the Dark Seal that he has bought.
Most definitely. I mean, those things come and go for sure, but I do want to say that if Daily Peach knows that Skarner is on the dragon here, he can definitely look for an invade right now. Even though the red side has been warding up his red side to make sure this dragon is as clean as possible, and making sure he has permacrio from the mid and bot side. Baby Daily Peach can really just slither himself in, especially when he hears the dragon notification.
Yep, they're starting this one up. UAE looking for those early dragons. They've been very good with that this series. I'd say, you know, a little bit later in game 2, but they have been on point with getting on top of these dragons as soon as possible, making it very difficult for Tempo Control to fight these buffs. But in goes Fauntleroy. A lot of damage coming down on the Seraphine. That bomb is stacking away, and we see a nice chunk of damage now going to be taken out of that Seraphine. As bot continued to be shoved in here by Mr. Cookie and Yoyi. They're not letting up one bit. They're not letting their advantage up. Daily Peach is yet to visit this bot lane to punish that. So very well played so far by UAE. And nice to get a dragon under the belt as well too. But only a little bit of gold advantage right now on the side of Tempo Control. They're up about 500 gold. So again, still very early on to be calling this game. And from what we've seen this series, it's been lot of back and forth.
Oh, most definitely. And I do want to say that all the CS differential that was in the bot lane was absolutely made up just by making sure the waves were in the proper time and a little bit better backs, where he can actually keep his CS numbers at least equal enough where there isn't a drastic lead like a 20 CS or a 10 CS lead. But nevertheless, I do want to say here that this is a really quiet game so far, a lot less than I thought. I can see that the Xayah really wants to go in, and the Rakan is not following suit, maybe because I feel like it's a bait or something's happening with it. But the Vi is down here to say hello, notifying that there is no play to be had.
But Daily Peach being down there, XC4 is on the other side of the map, taking that Herald, might actually bring it up into the top lane for Happy L. But he's going to go back into his jungle, do a little bit more CSing, as you're right. This game, much quieter in these early levels, while, you know, with the exception of that second game, that was pretty high kill. It has been pretty quiet here in these early games as these teams start to accumulate all that gold and their items, and what kind of win cons they're really looking for. We've seen them play those win cons so smart, really, on both sides. It tends to come down to a lot of skill matchup here, as XZ is a very clever way to take the Raptors there, as he just kind of backs and burns them down with his Bammy Cinder. But now he's got some Merc Treads, which means he's gonna get slowed down less. And with level 7,
most definitely,
he's got the Impale, so we need to see this setup here from UAE, looking to set up that Skarner ult and looking to pick themselves up some kills here.
And I do want to say that there's a huge collapse that looks like it's going to be happening in the bottom side river for the Shadow Crab, which is very interesting to say the least. But Skarner's clearing is a little bit messed up here as this Raptor spawn, as nothing else is actually, or everything else is up. The Vi is going to be looking for it.
Look at that big Seraphine all coming down. Tristana tries to get out, but caught up by Daily Peach, and it's first blood, but this time for Tempo Control. Well played to find that one, and this is exactly where we said this Vi was going to end up. A little bit later than we might have expected, but Daily Peach finally makes his way there, and they find themselves at 400 gold at the start of the game.
Tempo Control is absolutely doing a very much of a idealistic long con strategy, where there's not going to be a lot of breathing room, or there's not a lot of room to play here, as everything's being very nice and safe. And whenever they can to find a pick, they will. Especially that they have so much. They have a lot of hard long CC, but there's going to be initiation.
Yeah. In goes Yoyi right now. The Chompers are going to be coming down right away to try and catch up these members. But look on the backside, Fauntleroy has made his way down here, and that's going to be the Super Mega Death Rocket eventually clearing him out. But Tristana will fall to the Ignite, and it's just Ash Cash here as Daily Peach is roaming around and we're turning this into 2v2. Ash Cash is going to get caught by that last Jinx rocket coming through. Daily Peach taking a bit of damage here as XE4 has shown up as well too. Does have the flash and impale, but is not going to go too deep for that one. Really well played by UAE to find a couple members here.
Most definitely. I do want to say that was probably one of the scariest moments. If Zaya did not get hit by the Jinx rocket there, that entire play could have been flopped on the side of his head, where Zaya would have lived that exchange, got a kill on Tristana, and probably walked out while Daily Peach was getting the first rotation before the Skarner. Did a great find on the Mega Death Rocket and made sure that play never could exist, but it looks like Flash and Pale.
That is the Flash and Pale. That's what we're waiting for. Luckily, Babs has the Flash to answer on up to that, but Fauntleroy jumping on in. Is he going to be able to get that damage? Not quite, but very close call there. Luckily, Seraphine had the Flash to respond, or else that would have been super, super rough for them. However, Daily Peach back again in this mid lane is going to get spotted out by that ward placed by Fauntleroy. Everyone's going to disengage for a couple seconds. However, there is an Ocean Drake up on the map. It is Mountain Ocean, so I'm thinking that is actually going to be turning into a Cloud this game, if I can guess. I would love for an Infernal, but my guess is going to be it will be the Cloud Soul this game, which it is. And you know what? Movement speed in the jungle for both these teams is so ideal. So, I mean, for starting out to make picks, or getting those rotations through for both these teams, that is a crucial point to both their comps. So this is honestly a great Drake for either team that can secure it.
And I completely agree with you. Anybody, even with Cloud Soul, all of these champions can potentially use Cloud Soul with a very strong proficiency besides the Vi. You probably saw the end of the Hex Flash there.
Yes, I did. I was like, okay, that's just the Hex Flash. It's all good.
But nevertheless, I'm still surprised there's not a lot of action, because I swear to you, this Zaya Recon lane, which should be a lot more aggressive into the Jinx, just because of how their champions interact with Rel. But nevertheless, they're taking their time. You know they can scale up a little bit, have an okay time. Rise is still farming like a madman, keeping his almost 10 CS up. Wow. There was actually... I would say there's actually... Sorry, I'm holding my breath for Hex Flash for some reason. I do want to say that interesting turn of events that this Tristana is actually a little bit behind the Seraphine, which a lot of people may have not expected.
Yeah, and I think that was definitely attributed to that gank that Daily Peach was able to pull off earlier. Dead set the Tristana back a little bit. And on top of that too, Tristana has tried to go in twice on the Seraphine and not quite able to find that final blow. So that has definitely set Fauntleroy a little bit behind from where he might have expected to be with the Tristana in the mid lane. But either way, you can still look for damage. You're still going to be scaling up. However, this bot lane, Daily Peach is starting to creep in, but there is a ward in this bush up here, so he takes one more step up. He is going to get spotted, but he's sitting in that bush with his ulti. All it's going to take is one little move up, but I don't think Yoyi wants to go for this right now. I think they sniff something out a little suspicious down here. Oh no, wait, they're going to go in! He might go in. Daily Peach is here on Yoyi. He's actually going to get caught up by the Chompers there as Ashcash getting back to his team. Super Mega Death Rocket is here. Daily Peach is going in onto Ash. A lot of damage coming through. Mr. Cookie is picked off. Watch Editor taking the final blow, but the trade back is Daily Peach, and that is found by XZ4. But TP on down. Cracked is down to join in all the shenanigans we're seeing in this bot lane. Is a 1-for-1 so far in this bot side. Jungle for ADC. Good trade either way. And everyone's just going to back off for now.
Quite an explosive turnaround after a couple TPs came down from the Gnar and to the Rise there. Looks like they're going to be having a good bot lane back and forth to each other.
Oh, look at this. Mega Gnar ulti into the tower range. Happy Al is able to find that solo as the backs are coming through here. So unfortunately, no one able to help out that Rise. He's picked on off, and some more gold in the pockets of UAE. But if you look at the team gold, very, very close. Only a 300 difference. No towers yet, and 1 dragon apiece. This is a very close game between both these teams as we are moving into the mid game.
Most definitely, I do want to give props to the Gnar there to be able to find that using his damage, but it looks like Vi's going to get caught out of here.
Yoyi jumps on over, not able to find the built-in Aurelia stun there to the Rel. But Daily Peach is now flashless, and this is going to be the Herald started up by the side of UAE. A lot of these have been going over to tempo control this game. Daily Peach has been really good with the Heralds, but now we get to see things turned around. Let's see what lane they're going to decide to bring it to, as bot lane has rotated up to the top side, and if a Jinx is left alone in the lane, I mean, this can be really terrible for IQ if she's able to just shred, but oh yeah, Crack knows. Crack knows what's up. He's not walking up. He doesn't want any of that. He knows exactly what's going on right now as the Herald spawned up there, so he knows there's at least one more person sitting up in this top lane. He does not want to deal with it. So
They knew it was a bait all along.
There's always a bait.
It's like, ooh, a DC target. Let me just walk up here and I'm dead.
Yeah, let me just go get this lonesome ADC, and they're never alone. They're never ever alone. You got to know that. And luckily, Cracked, you know what? He does give up the turret, but that means he is going to survive to fight another day. So with that, though, another Cloud Drake is on this map. This is going to be the second for whoever's able to secure it here. However, XZ is here, ready to go with his team. Scrying Orb is going to come out, so tempo control is aware of what's going on, but they just don't have the numbers here in time. So that will be the Cloud going on over to the side of UAE. And everyone, again, backs off. This is a very cautious game from both sides. It's game 3. Nobody wants to do something dumb and throw the game for their team. So everyone's just, I think, a little bit on edge and playing a little safer than what we saw in games 1 and 2.
For sure, and I do want to say, even though they're up in objectives, IQ is still ahead by almost 1k gold until that it popped, and now they are over 1k gold. But I want to say the slow advantages that IQ has been able to bring to the table, and just without only basically one objective, which is the Ocean Soul, they've been really the bet to pull out. All of this is just natural CS gains.
Yep, and Rise almost has the tier stacked up as well too. Fauntleroy is getting a little close to this, and Crack smells him out. He's going to look for some poke, but just able to get a little before the jump is activated. Pulling her away, but yeah, I'm holding my breath here. I'm waiting for something big here. I feel like the kid from The Incredibles. What do you want? I don't know, something amazing, I guess.
Exactly.
Just waiting for it. And again, it's one step out of position. It's one member kind of taking that initiation to pull the trigger, because we have good initiation on both sides, but it's the follow-up that happens afterwards which is going to be impacting these fights massively.
I completely agree with you, and I just want to say I think this next dragon is either going to be explosive or same thing where they're just sitting there farming, scaling, getting little advantages with CS while they're taking the dragon, or the second Rift Herald, which is going to be not popping in soon because the Baron's going to be eating that straight away. I do want to say that the Jinxes are getting up to her second item, which is a okay spike comparatively to the Xayah. She elects to go for the Gale Force, where you can kind of use it as like a E-Flash. But discarded.
He's looking for it. He's trying for the Impale, but the Featherstorm will come out, immediately followed up by the Rakan ult. But in goes Yoyi, trying to get that CC off on the Rel. It's going to be a lot of lockdown, but a lot of damage coming through. Everybody survives for now. Fauntleroy jumping in as well too. Happy Owl is here, but no Meganar available. Over the wall comes Daily Peach, and in he finds the numbers. He gets to the back line. Holy moly. The follow-up here from the rest of his team after Daily Peach pulled the trigger, found the back line. Incredible stuff, and now Tempo Control heading on over to the Baron to pick themselves up that 20, well, maybe 21 minute by the time they're done it, but this is a nice early Baron for them off of a beautiful find there from Daily Peach to help his team win that fight.
What a absolute fantastic fantastic R coming from Vanity Peach there, getting hitting 4 members, knocking the Jinx to the side, easy pickings for his team to pick up there as he cleans up the rail at the same time, electing them to get this Baron straight off of the dome. Basically 20 minutes when they finished it. I will count it out that way. And,
What's a minute?
Exactly. And I just want to say that this dragon is probably going to be heavily contested, especially that how much AoE and just AoE pressure is coming with like terrain morphing as Seraphine ultimate, or even just heavy CC coming from the Kron plus Seraphine, and I guess Vi if he can find the angle for it.
Yeah, we're seeing this push on in the mid lane. I would have thought Cracked might have split off to a lane because he does have TP. He could show up for that dragon fight later, but taking down that tier 1 mid tower is going to be fantastic. They make sure to keep that cannon minion with the little Baron buff. It's not a little Baron buff. It's a big buff to be happening here, so let's not downplay the sides of what Temple Control have under their belts right now, because they still have it for about another 2 minutes. This dragon is up in 45 seconds, so they are going to have that extra buff while this next one comes on the map. I'm thinking they look to tie up these dragons, because it'd be a little risky for UAE to be walking into this fight with that disadvantage, knowing that they don't have that extra damage coming from Baron.
I do want to say that as well as if UAEB looks for this Baron here and Baron is still on IQ, this can be a very scary potential point where they can just rush a single minion wave and run themselves all the way to an inhibitor while they're trying to clear out this dragon. But it looks like they're just going to take the safe route and take up a free dragon.
Yeah, XC is on the other side of the map right now, so they swept it out with the Rel, and knowing that there's no vision down here, Super Mega Death Rocket almost actually going to find it there, but not in time. That's now 2 dragons apiece for each of these teams. The gold, though, is in favor of Temple Control, up about 4.5k gold at this point, up in kills, up in towers, and that's where it all comes together, is getting that gold for your team, getting everybody just that little smidge ahead, that one step forward to claiming victory is what both these teams are definitely striving for. But I honestly thought we would have seen a lot more Impale plays coming out of XZ. It's up right now. But again, it is hard to get to that Xayah. We saw in that last fight, the initiation did come a lot, or I guess the reinitiation came a lot from Yoyi's Rel and the Impale to kind of kick things off, but the follow-up that Temple Control are able to pull off in these fights is pretty damn devastating. So they need to be smart with these picks, make sure that they're not doing it in the face of all 5 members of IQ.
Exactly, and that's what they should be kind of careful about. But I do want to look back at the objective timers and looking at seeing that the Baron's going to be coming up once again, and IQ is potentially going to be looking for this team fight once they did before, where they can pick up a massive team fight, get another Baron, get a little bit more advantage, targeting an extra tower or 2, and then picking up a free dragon with the Baron. I do want to say that I believe they can be a little bit more aggressive, especially how strong they are naturally, and especially that the Xayah is very strong for where she would be originally at. But I do want to clarify that if Gnar is able to go Mega, Rel gets a good initiation, and Skarner is able to find either Xayah or Vi, this fight can be over real quick.
They need a clump up and they need a Mega Gnar, and then UAE are in business, because as soon as somebody clumps up, you're gonna be looking for that follow-up from the Mega Gnar. And this is, you know what, I think I got it goofed up in draft for some reason. I thought the Seraphine and Gnar were drafted together. I'm like, yeah, you just follow up the Seraphine Gnar with the Gnar. No, you can't do that because they're on opposite teams. However, though, it's the Magnetic Storm paired with the Gnar. That's what I was keying into. So, I mean, Yoyi has been playing great tonight so far. I'm sure he's going to be looking for that 5 or 4, even 3-man Rel R at that point to follow up with the Mega. But right now, Happy All is on the top side of the map. However, the Impale is going to be coming through onto Ashkash. He's just going to simply walk away on that. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Actually, the Impale was not used. He was just slowed down a little bit. They realized it's Rakan and maybe not use the Impale on the champion that will just dash away from you. Probably the smart call.
Yeah, probably. I would definitely agree with you. The Gnar is looking for the little bit of a split push to put a quick response, knowing that the entire team of IQ is off the map. They're trying to poke their heads around. UAEB is looking to poke their heads around, drop some vision, but I think invading to the bot side here is okay, but really setting up for this Baron and making sure they are able to really find what they need to, which is the objective, I would presume, is probably the better play here, unless you can pick up a Rise before the Baron spawns. But I do want to say UAE is in control at the moment, especially that top is getting pushed in, mid is getting pushed, finally getting pushed out by IQ. But I actually wonder who's going to be splitting against the Rise.
And that is a very good question, because Gnar himself is definitely not the split pushing champion. That's what we were just talking about too, is like looking at him to get those big ults off in these team fights. So it's going to be interesting to see, because they are sending Gnar down towards the bot side to meet with that Rise. But Daily Peach is walking around as well too. You see Rise actually going for a back right now. I wonder if he's got some gold to spend. About 1,400, so that's not bad to pick up a little needlessly large rod, which he's going for. So a lot of extra AP going into the hands of that Rise. But I do want to commend Cracked on respecting UAE this game. You saw even in that bot side there, he knew something was up. Tristana was pushed into that tier 1 tower, and he was all the way back at his tier 2. So definitely the smart call, because the Skarner and Rel were just inside that jungle. There was no vision there, so we just had to assume that there was someone there, and thankfully he does have the respect for what potentially could happen, since he's not late game Rise quite yet.
I wonder if they sniff this out, because Zaya's not there, and that's his strongest member of IQ. If they look for initiation there, they might be able to pick off a cheeky fight, or they can just stack up the Baron. But it looks like they're looking for, UAEB is looking for this cheeky Baron play.
Looking to set it up. Zaya is all the way down to the bottom side of the map, but Daily Peach is able to find that Gnar. So one member down on UAE. This could be very bad, because Ashcash is right here. They've got the ulti. They're ready to go. That Baron is going down a lot more slowly than they might have wanted. And UAE is going to have to back on up, and not before all 4 members get caught by the Seraphine ult to follow up. The Rakan goes in. Daily Peach is just chasing him down. They find one there, but this is going to force UAE off of this Baron. Babs in the backside of this. Fauntleroy coming around from this side, but they can just jump on this. Tristana so damn fast. In goes Cracked. In goes Ashcash, but it's Wash Editor that finds that kill. Baron going down. Picked up once again by Tempo Control. So well played. A beautiful Seraphine ult from Babs, and a fantastic follow-up from Ashcash just to lock down everybody in that.
A fantastic follow-up. Finding the Gnar pick right before the fight is actually I would find very crucial, because he had a nice little flank there going on until Daily Peach sniffed the Gnar out and was able to pop him very quickly. Right before the Baron even was even 20% HP, but the Rise is getting cut out.
Yep, there's the Impale, and there they go. Seraphine ult is not going to find anybody on the side there, and Rise will get picked off. These death timers are insanely long at this point. 50 seconds on that Rise, so UE is going to go ahead, crack open this mid-tier 1, open the map a little bit up for themselves. Make sure that bush is extra warded there, though, but they're also going to be able to find this tier 2, so great push coming out, even though it's Tempo Control with that Baron buff. One pick is all it takes, and a mile that they take. So both teams are able to do this. However, it's still Tempo Control in that, control. 6k gold up. Soul point for them. And this game is at the 30-minute mark, and this is where we know these teams kind of start to go a little nutty in these team fights. But that's exciting for us, because it's been very quiet leading up to this point. But now we've got some massive fight potentials breaking out at any point in time.
Most definitely, and I think the 2 key players into this is going to be the Jinx, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be Jinx versus Zaya, in all honesty. If Zaya is able to really pack out some damage and be able to shred the front line using the feathers to rip the back line, will be absolutely phenomenal, and by finding the Jinx in fights is going to be absolutely huge, especially if the Jinx is able to get her passive off and being able to run around and start to pumping out extraordinary amounts of damage. There is a lot of control coming in from IQ right now, especially just how the champions are fitting into the comp and finding some really key team fights in the mid game to allowing them to get their second bear in the game, which is absolutely huge. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be running down mid at this point and looking for an inhibitor.
And I just want to point out, everyone is super rich, especially these ADCs. Like, I just got to say, shout out to the ADCs this game. They're both at 10 CS a minute at this point, or over that really at this point in time. They are farming incredibly well, but in goes Ashkash with the charm. Seraphine ult to lock down this Gnar, and Happy Al is gonna try and get away, but no, Daily Peach just bonks him on the head with those massive power gloves, and that is gonna be another kill picked up here. This Baron is about to run out for them, so we're gonna see that expire, but I think they were able to find a couple good picks there, a couple more pieces of gold to line their pockets at this point. But it's 32 minutes and we're starting to get full builds coming through. And I like the fact that Xayah does have the QSS. So just an extra precaution against this Skarner, who is definitely going to be trying to look for that ADC. But, I mean, you have the Featherstorm, you have the Rakan that can follow up and protect you, and the QSS on top of that. I don't know if the Skarner even gets to her.
Most definitely. I think the most of the two targets they're going to be looking for is if he can get Seraphine before she ults, or the Vi. But it looks like the Jinx is getting caught out already.
Seraphine's just going to ult right away. You got to be faster than that. Big Featherstorm coming through. Going to lock down Yoyi. He's trying to jump away. That extra little shield gets out, and yeah, no need to apologize off of that one, because that is just showing you how fast these fights can break out. And with that, though, Tempo Control are into the base of UAE. They're pushing on these Nexus turrets. This could just be game here. The death timer's 27 seconds on this bot lane from UAE. And now a TP coming through as well, too. Rise was able to get the back. He's on in. IQ Crack looking for Happy L right now, trying to lock him down. This Mega Gnar is going to be coming through as well, too. But one Nexus turret will drop Seraphine, getting a lot of damage out. That passive is extra big with all her teammates surrounding her. But in goes the Impale, dragging the Seraphine back. Ashkat trying to survive for a little bit longer. Super Mega Death Rocket will not land onto anybody, but a big Seraphine ult down onto Mr. Cookie. Babs on the killing spree. The Jinx gone is going to be so devastating. Yoyi with a big Magnetic Storm, but nobody's there to follow up on that one. Cracked is going to get actually picked off in the back, not before trading out with one. It's a double kill for Fauntleroy, but this is just going to be game. XZ is the last one standing, and Tempo Control able to find it in game 3. GG's.
GG's. Also a little treat at the very end. I don't know if direct-to-camera grabbed that, but Daily Peach went right into the fountain with I think it was Tristana.
Of course he
and
did.
It was
Oh man, these teams gave us such a good series tonight, but in the end, it's Tempo Control that comes out with a win in 34 minutes on the dot, so really well played by them. It just, honestly, I want to commend both teams. Both teams played incredibly well tonight. It was so much back and forth. I mean, the fact that you go to 34 minutes and it's still like, okay, we don't know where this game is going to go quite yet. It can still go in both directions until literally one fight where they're just like, okay, I guess we could just push in the base and end. That was just, honestly, really good from both sides, but it's just that final little catch there. The Seraphine ults coming through massive in this late game to find those catches onto Mr. Cookie was so huge for the side of Tempo Control.
An absolute phenomenal play. I do want to say, like you said, these games are absolutely action-packed with a couple of hook champions in the early on, and a nice and clean game for the final game. Even if it was an IQ victory, it doesn't mean both teams didn't give it their all.
Absolutely. So, GG's to both our teams for tonight. We do have one final player of the game poll that we're going to pop up right now. And when we come back, we'll also be announcing our final raffle winner. So make sure to enter in the raffle with Command Raffle. And of course, to let us know who you think deserves player of the game with vote and the player's position. So top, jungle, mid, ADC, or support. Let us know. But GG's to both our teams. Everyone played incredible tonight. You gave us some kick-ass games to cast as well too. But
For sure.
I'll be back in 5 minutes to join you on the analyst desk to close out this this stream for you guys. But Paige, any last comments about these two teams?
All I'm going to say is thank you very much for letting me cast, and always very excited to cast the LTS every time I'm here. And thank you very much.
Anytime, buddy. We will see you next time. But until I come back, make sure to get those votes in. Make sure to get those raffle entrants in. And we'll see you back on the analyst desk in 5 minutes. Hello, and welcome back to the conclusion of week 7 of the LTS Premade. We got our final player of the game tonight, and that's going to be none other than Wash Editor, actually coming back with the second Pog tonight, going 5-1-7 this time. And, you know, I was watching Twitch chat there, and I got to say, you guys brought up some good points, that when I saw Wash Editor on the Pog first, I'm like, 8-8, maybe not the fanciest lineup that we've seen on the KDA before, but you gotta keep in mind that in these series, mental can play a huge part in these games. So the fact that Wash was able to stay mentally focused in these games and come back and still play well game after game shows a lot of strength in the player and a lot of a constitution, I guess, if you want to call it that, and holding themselves together in this. So really well done, Wash Editor. Really well done to Temple Control on the win tonight. But I got to say GG's to both teams because it was a fantastic series to watch, to cast, and to have here on stream. And the fact that the 5th place team was able to put up this hard of a fight here against our 2nd place team shows me that this league is very, very strong. Very, very strong, so anything can happen come playoffs. So you never know what can happen in a best-of-5 series, but I'm very excited to watch these two teams as they progress through the final bits, the final few weeks of this split. We're very close to coming up to our playoffs, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. But that is going to conclude our stream for tonight. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight and watching. We got a couple more things to do before we close off the stream. I first of all want to thank our 2 raids tonight. One from Isashman coming in. Isakman, I hope I'm saying it right, buddy. Coming through with the raid. And of course, another raid from Akuma Esports tonight. Thank you so much for joining in, bringing over some new viewers, and of course, supporting us here at Legends Esports. Love to see it. Thank you so much for all that love and support, guys. And of course, we have one more final raffle to do. So for those of you who have been patient, sticking around, who actually entered into this last one, let's get the drum roll going for our 3rd and final raffle of the night. Let's see if we can get this one going. Drum roll, please. Our final winner for tonight is going to be Matthew Bobo again with the 250. So he's coming away looking mighty fine with those legend tokens tonight. Congratulations, Matthew, on those points there. You'll be walking away 500 tokens richer, depending on how the games went tonight, but or how those predictions went tonight. Either way, you're going to be looking good after this. Thank you for participating in all my little predictions and token raffles and all that stuff tonight. I really appreciate having your guys' input on the stream and having you guys involved in this too. But it's been almost 4 hours of League of Legends, so we're gonna head on out. It's been a wonderful night. Thank you to both our teams. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Thank you to our raiders, to everybody who comes to support this stream. Couple announcements before I leave though. Tomorrow there will not be LAS Valorant. That will be happening Saturday, 1 p.m. EST, before the LRS Valorant stream, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. Again, no stream tomorrow afternoon for LAS Valorant. That has been moved to Sunday, 1 p.m. EST, but Let's Talk Legends will still be airing tomorrow. Tomorrow night we're doing like a top however many bloopers we find in our blooper reels, so make sure to keep sending those clips into our blooper reels channel on the Discord. You can go ahead and check out that over here if you aren't already in our Discord already. Of course, I've got myself on some lovely merch tonight, so if you haven't already checked out the merch store, make sure to head on over there to pick yourself up something quite nice and comfortable. I gotta say, love this hoodie, and it's been through the wash way too many times at this point because I just wear it all the time. Other than that, Let's Talk Legends tomorrow, 11 p.m. EST tomorrow, shifted half an hour due to Clash, but I hope to see you all there. Keep sending in those clips. I want to see your worst plays ever, or the funniest plays, whatever you got. Send them in. Anyways, Gurf signing off for the night. GG's, everybody. We'll catch you next time. And my goodness, playoffs around the corner. Can't wait to see what happens. Take care, everybody. Bye. Bye.
I saw you smile from across the bar. Yeah, she was pretty and so close but so far. She flipped her hair and I thought this can't be true. How does a man like me get someone like you? And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies. Just like that, you're coming closer to me. Come shake me, grab me, so I wake up from this dream. I can't breathe, come at me, I don't know if I can speak. Then she said, come with me and let's be free. The night is young and I think this could go far. The sky is dark but you're my shooting star. Could see your face reflect upon the moon. It was a pretty summer night in June. And then she looked at me and I was confused. Everyone here can't be the one that she'll choose. And I looked back and saw the spark in her eyes. This can't be real, my head's telling me lies.